Good morning, everyone. You are listening to Blue Collar Chat Podcast, and I'm your host, Splash. I hope you are having an amazing day. Before I get to my guest, let's listen to our sponsor, TREP. No handouts, just work. That is the motto of blue collars across the world. You and me alike, we understand what it is to get off a job site, look all dirty, getting ready to go out to dinner, trying to find some clothes that still represent that we are blue collar to the bone. Well, visit my friends at TREP, where that's TREP, wear.com. What is TREP, you ask? It stands for the real everyday people. That's you. That's you every day. You are real. You are an everyday human being that just loves and has passion about what you do. Well, wear it pridefully on your shirts, on your shorts, on your jackets, and on your baseball hats. Visit my friends at trepwear.com and use my code SPLASH25, get 25% off, and be part of the real everyday people of the blue collar world. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you're all having a great day. For those painters out there, and generally the contractors, but being that I am a painter by my trade skill set, if I actually have that skill set, it is exterior season. We are getting ready for exterior season. So make sure your machines are clean, your ladders are safe. Please make sure you're checking your ladders. I heard a bad incident last year. Someone had hid their ladder away, as we typically do, and then brought it out the first day. One of the rungs was broken, didn't even know because it froze. So make sure you're doing a safety check on your crew. And if you're not, that responsibility falls on you. But hey, be safe. If you have questions about setups, you know my DM's open. But without further ado, I have a very special guest on, as I've been following her probably since day one of you being on Instagram. I have Jennifer, who is also known as Miss DeWalt. How are you this morning?
Hi, good morning, Splash. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Well, it is a pleasure. Jennifer, as someone who's been on Instagram for what to me seems like age, I think I've been on there for 10 years. I've been on there for 10 years. I've been grinding, doing this for 10 years. You have made a significant impact in the world of trades. And that's one of the reasons I want to have you on. If you can, for our audience who may not know you, they should know who you are. Username is Miss DeWalt. But what is your background in the trades? How did you get into this area?
Well, this is not anything that I ever expected to be in. This is the cliff notes of my story. My husband, I was married to a maintenance man who was very handy, knew how to fix, build anything. And he worked at a local college and left for work one morning and was killed on his way there.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. That was 14 years ago. And in the days following, I just learned to pick up his tools and teach myself. Now, we did have a lot of help in those initial days, but I realized very quickly that I couldn't rely on people the rest of my life to come and help me. So I picked up his tools and just started doing things around the home, and was a paralegal and started building flags for the police officers I worked with. And it just grew into something I never expected and led me down the path that I really feel I'm meant to be on.
So you're in a place right now in the trades that you're happy in what you do.
I am. And I don't, which I would like to get a part-time job working. There's a cabinet maker friend of mine that needs help. I'm not actively going out and working at a construction company every day. But I do a lot of DIY, and I help a lot of friends out if they need things built. I helped a friend with her deck and around her pool, and I do things like that. But my niche is content creation, just really promoting. I very much believe that, like, you need to see it to be it. And I saw very early on that there was a need for me in the male dominated field, especially in marketing of tools. That's where I really feel like where I'm meant to be. I need to make a change because it's very one-sided.
Yeah. And, For those that don't know, my podcast is very unscripted. Jennifer doesn't know any of the questions that I'm going to ask her. So, I want to. One thing that I really appreciate about you, I'm a husband, I have a wife, and I can tell you that when I post videos that have her on in it, I get a spike in views. Like it is just what it is. The one thing about you, Jennifer, like I said, I know I followed you before you had less than 500 followers. Like I know,
Wow.
I know because I, there's it's just what I do. Like I follow who I follow for certain reasons. One thing I've appreciated about you, being a husband and a father to a daughter, you didn't use, and I don't mean this to be bad, it's just the way that it is, like, quote unquote, you didn't use your body to build your following. You used your natural skill set, a passion that you have to gain and build your community. I like the word community over following because really, in essence, when you're on social media, you're building a community, whether you have 10,000 followers or you have 500,000 followers. It's your community that you've grown, and you've really done it in um, a beautiful, organic way that lets everyone know you're there to show them how badass you are.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate you saying that. And that's actually part of my why. And part of my reason. And I don't know if you know this part of my story. When I was making flags for first responders and veterans and just anybody, the American flags, whatever people would order. And I did that for 5 years. So before my Miss DeWalt Instagram, I had another account that was only flags.
okay.
And I won a contest through DeWalt in 2017. They had a Show Us Your Tough contest. And following that, that's how the Miss DeWalt nickname came about. I didn't come up with that. I didn't say, hey, I was going to call myself Miss Fix It and do YouTube videos. I really felt like there was a need for that. And it was my police officer friends that I worked with in the courthouse that started calling me that as a joke.
Yeah.
We all had our good laugh, haha, because there is another company that uses a model who's scantily clad to pose with their tools. And I do not want to female bash anybody.
Okay.
I just felt for me that in this day and age, we've moved beyond that. And I wanted to, so that's why I kind of adopted that Miss DeWalt name, because it was sort of like what I felt the other brand should be doing.
Yeah.
You can have a female who's capable and confident and showing the tool. I really feel if you're going to be the face for a tool brand, you should know how to use the tools.
No, absolutely. I reference into being a car salesman. If you work at a Ford dealership, you better drive a Ford.
Yeah.
If you work at a Ferrari dealership, you better drive a Ferrari. It's like okay, I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. My wife and I had our anniversary this week, and I took her out to a bed and breakfast I'd never been to. The reviews were really good on it, and I called the bed and breakfast. I asked the most simplest question, like, hey, do you guys have wine glasses there, or do I need to bring my own? Like, stupid question, but like, it's what's on my mind. She says, no, we don't have any. We don't store those kind of things. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll bring my own. We walk in, what's in, not in our room, but they have this like little nook of cups and water. They have wine glasses. Like, you need to know what your business does. And I'm like you, I'm not here to body shame. I mean, from the male perspective, like, is it cool to look at? Yes, but it's more distracting to what the tools or even the company, whether it's a painter, a drywall, or a framer, it's very distracting. And there are a handful of you women. I've actually, and I'll drop her name. I've had Tool Pro's wife on my show. She's very similar to you. She doesn't show that, but she is fucking badass. Like, she can do way more shit handier than I can. And I learned so much from you females that are in the trade. And it goes with like my wife. My wife is white collar as can be. But when she steps on a job site, and I like to take a little credit because we've worked together in our business, but like, she can spray really well. Like, she sprays a lot better because she's looked at how the job's supposed to be done. And that looks like, from what I see from your posts, like, that's what you're implementing is like, hey, be a woman, be powerful, and just be yourself.
Right. And we can be feminine too, but not overly showy. And sometimes, like, like if I'll be very careful to not show too much because of the video I'm creating. Sometimes I do show like a before where I'm dressed like this.
Yeah.
And then here's the after of what I fixed up, and I'm in a nice dress. And that's actually really more for the females, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
than for the males, because I want women who maybe wouldn't pick up a tool to be able to relate to me and to say, oh yeah, I have two sides too. I can be down and dirty and badass when I need to. And I can also, and it's almost kind of like our superpower, like that we can be the best of both worlds. So I know that, like my dad's a garage guy. He builds roadsters and he's always in his garage. And I just remember as a little girl going around with him, like to go stop in and see his buddies who are in their garages and seeing posters of women in bikinis holding tools. And I just remember thinking, like, those were my first images of women with tools. And I thought that, like, that isn't me. And I just feel like we need to be better role models in 2023 for the next generation. And for those
Absolutely.
watching today, I feel like that's old school. We've moved on from that. And yeah, so the image I'm showing is what I feel like needs to be portrayed.
But it's organic to you, and that's what I appreciate. I can tell, like, you aren't trying to be anyone that you're not, and it's beautiful to see,
Thanks.
from the male to female perspective, and you are right. I grew up with Miss Makita. My dad was a Makita guy, and he still is to this day. I mean, don't and he has different brands, but I remember, I know, I'm sure that he still has the poster, and it's willed to me. It better be, but like, and it's not to say like you can't. I think that in any business model of marketing, sex is going to sell. It just is what it is. But there are some companies, and I've had them on the podcast, and it's an episode that has been released already, that they do the marketing from the woman aspect of showing a little bit much, but the owner of the company, he's did it in a way where he's still talking about the tools, and we actually talk about on the podcast, like, from that perspective, like, listen, I know putting this female in here who low cut shirt or in a bikini, whatever the situation may be, I know that's the attention. He says, but we're working in this whole thing, and it's in 2023. I think that, well, I feel this way without getting too political. There's this really fine line of
Mhm.
what you can and can't say,
Yeah.
and for someone like me, I joke with my wife that, like, hey, I'm 40, I can say whatever I want. There are still some things that can come backlash at me, and I'm well aware of that. But um, to your trade, I want to talk about the brand if we can. What did you win from DeWalt? When you won this contest, what was the overall concept of the
Oh,
contest?
well, it's even a fluke that I entered. I
Those are
happen
the ones
to
that
have,
always win.
with that,
Those are the ones that always win. The ones that
but I
just
knew it.
fluke into it.
I knew it was mine from if and maybe there's somebody listening that can relate to this, or maybe you can, Splash, relate to this. It was an online Facebook contest, and I'm using DeWalt because my husband used DeWalt, so it was his tools. That's why there's such a love there.
Mhm.
Which kind of coincidence. His nickname was Dewey,
Oh, okay.
but his family called him Dew for short. So like sometimes I'll be working and like I'll look and like something will be like obscuring and I'll just see like the dew and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, that's it's like personal to me.
yeah,
So anyway, I was working still at my paralegal job, making my flags every evening, every weekend. And I happened to have 3 thin blue line flags in the 3 different sizes that I offered. And came home from work, I was still in my nice attire. And I said to my son, hey, my poor children always get drug out to get pictures and stuff of me. And I'm like, hey, Cameron, come get a picture of me with my 3 different size flags while I look nice, before I change in my overalls. And I just wanted to get a photo when people wanted to order, they can see my sizes. And my husband's drill happened to be around, and I picked it up and I kind of posed, because they were police flags, kind of like a Charlie's Angel, playful,
yeah.
just kind of a fun. Never thought anything would come of it, and I posted it to my people on Facebook because my social media presence wasn't real big then. I wasn't even on like Instagram as Miss DeWalt then, because obviously that came later. But anyway, a friend said, you need to share that to DeWalt's Facebook page. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I did. And then I liked them. And then like a week later, they announced this Facebook contest. It was the Show Us Your Tough contest. And the prize was a trip to Vegas, free tools. I got money to spend while I was there, and I got to go see the PBR finals because
Nice.
I had 3 sponsored riders. And I got to go like to a luncheon to meet the bull riders. It was this whole fabulous package. And I thought, as soon as I saw it, like I knew that that was for me. I knew it was.
Yeah.
And that basically changed the course of my life. I mean, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but it was a life-changing event. But I went after it like I still had to fight for it. Like I posted like the day that they started the contest. They started at, say, at noon. I was on at noon with my picture, with my story. And what they don't tell you though, like I thought people would see me in the public that didn't know me and want to go on and vote. Nobody wants to spend their time voting for you on those online things.
No.
I had to tell all of my hometown of Newton Falls, Ohio, voted and rallied behind me. Like all of the people I worked with at the courthouse voted for me, and I won. But like from day one, I pushed until like the end of the contest. And that was a wonderful, it was a wonderful trip. I got to take my daughter. And yeah, that really, and then of course the nickname came because of that. So yeah, that was how I got to know their chief marketing officer. I made a lot of contacts.
And that's important. I'm glad that you had the wherewithal to understand, those contacts are important. I want to ask you a question. If it's too sensitive, we can just bypass it. But I feel this very much so in the trades. With my father being my father was a tradesman, and he was my adopted dad, and he's ill right now. But I'm hearing from you, when your husband passed away and you see these drills around, I feel like maybe in the perspective of what I'm seeing and hearing is that like it was the sense that he was there, that sense of pushing you to be like, Jennifer, it's okay. I'm going, like I'm getting the chills talking about, but like it was that push of when we experience a loss in life. I've experienced that with my mother, and both my biological parents, that there's little tokens. I'll use that word. There's little tokens around that just make us stop and think like, I really appreciate having you in this life with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you remember those things. Do you feel that with Dewey, if I may call him that? Like, do you feel that with him around, like, and it's pushed you to be where you're at?
Absolutely. 100%. And there's actually, I now looking back realize not only did I really have to do those things for myself, but I think that in some way there was a lot of comfort in being, because we have a pole barn that's detached, that's now my shop. But that was his hangout, and like all of his stuff was out there. And I think in the very beginning days, it was, I say I'm handy out of necessity, and that is true. But I think a lot of it brought me comfort to be around his things and in his space. And like one of my very first stories, though, it all like, I look back and I'm like, my story almost kind of ended before it began, because one of the first projects I tried to do was to remake, he had like this archery stand in the backyard, and I decided I was going to change that and make doors for it and put my like gardening stuff in it. And I got everything out, and it's not close to the house. So I'm talking like extension cords, like air hoses. I got out his miter saw, which the last time he used it, he had it shut and like with the safety on it to keep it shut. This is how little I knew. I didn't know how to open it. So I drag everything out. I'm ready to work, and that damn miter saw will not open. And I just remember having like a feeling sorry for myself pity party moment. And I talked, like, why did you leave me? I don't even know how to do, like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. And like, after my couple minutes of feeling bad for myself and just like crying, the thought came over, like I calmed down and I'm like, Jennifer, look at it, figure it out. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what this thing over here does. And, I turned it and boop, the thing popped open like a cork. And then I worked. And actually that, for not knowing what I was doing, that turned out pretty good. But there are moments where I feel like he's with me, because I can't explain how I just wing these things sometimes and they turn out, because half the time I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm gonna go hippie on you. Energetic forces are real. They're
Yeah,
very real, and when you have a loss, you feel that kinetic energy of them that are there, and it's a guiding light. Call it an angel following you, whatever word you want to interchange in there. I appreciate you sharing that with us, Jennifer. It's important because I feel that people in the trades are passionate, and that's one thing that I love about it, and why I started this podcast is I want people to share their stories, because there's going to be men and women out there that have a very similar story,
I know.
and it doesn't necessarily need to be blue collar based, but in the aspect of where you head in your life is so much more of like, why am I passionate about this? And you've really found that out on there. um with you being DeWalt and your husband having these tools, when you won uh the DeWalt tough that you were doing on there, um explain that. A lot of people, I give away a lot on, I work with companies. I've tried working with DeWalt, and there are just some companies that don't understand that marketing, like, hey, we're already in these box stores, we don't need to do this. I'm always on the flip side of like, hey, let's still give away these tools. When you won I don't want to say explain it, but like, how does that change that drive in you? I think that's more the way I want to go with that. Does that change your drive? Did it change your drive? And like, wow, I really am something, not someone, because you already are someone in your own mind, but I am something. I have a different side of good that you didn't see.
Yeah. And it has evolved. Following that, I realized that there was a need for me. And their chief marketing officer at the time really liked me and kept inviting me back to things. Like, I got to go see a NASCAR race, and then he left, and that was kind of like the end of it. But I realized, in putting myself on social media and looking at their branding, which, like, I don't want to criticize their branding and what they've done, because they obviously, they know what their marketing people know what they're doing. But I did request, and I met a lot of people from that, and a lot of employees, and one was a friend. And I said, hey, can you send me a catalog? Because I want to pick out, we always have like a mental wish list of things we want. And I said, I want to go through your catalog and, just pick out things that I'd like to buy in the future. And I got it, and there wasn't one single solitary woman in it. And also their Instagram page. And then I looked at the other key players, the Milwaukee's and all the other, and I'm like, why aren't there any women with their tools on their page?
Yep.
And so I feel like I have a lot of purposes in life, but that was a defining moment where I'm like, I have to personally do something to change this.
Well, I know you're in no position to say this, so I'll say it. And I know I'm getting a root of it behind me. Listen, if you're a tool company, y'all got to stop. You have to understand that there are women in the trades that are a lot better than most of the men, because they carry a different type of passion. They understand things, and honestly, they see the world a lot different than what we do. So start utilizing them. I think some of them have. Some of them do it in the joking way that we've talked about. Some of them do it in the serious way, like you said. And yes, their marketing team is smart. There's one company that I would love to work for them. I would absolutely love to market for them. Their market, and they are a drill company, their market absolutely blows. And I've had 12 phone calls with them. I'm not shy about it. And every time I talk to someone there that's in their marketing department, the answer is like, well, we're working on it. I'm like, no, you're not. Like,
no,
you're not. And
you're
so
working on deflecting the answer and like getting me off the phone.
you are. And so in the last year, I've shut my business down. I am 100% social media, and I work behind the scenes for companies and grow. I've done a lot of work for companies that you wouldn't even know it was me doing it. If you're pretty smart and you know who I am, you can maybe catch like, hey, that looks like a splash that he would do. But what I have found is a lot of these companies, they're looking at who the big hitters are. Oh, who has 500,000 followers? Who has this many followers? And I always tell people, like, you got to look at the analytics. What is that person building in their community? I'm sure right now, Jennifer, you probably can name, to be safe, because you have over 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably name 25 of your loyal followers.
Oh,
by
yeah.
name, by their social media name.
By their and real name.
And the real, you probably know their friend. Like you said, I have a daughter named Cameron. I don't hear that name a lot. You have a kid named Cameron. So it's like, you know, certain things about that, you know, but after you get to 100, it falls off for me. And the people I've talked to, like, there's a big company, they have 1 million plus followers, and we were in a board meeting with them. And that was one of my questions. I said, hey, you know, there's about 10 people that work their marketing department. I said, I want you guys to name me on a whiteboard or whatever. They went up to the whiteboard and started writing all these Instagram names down. Remember, they have 1 million plus followers. They only named 38.
Oh, wow.
And I said, the reason I had this exercise with them, I'm giving away my secrets of what I help build people. But the reason I said the time, I says, what are you guys doing? Then I went deeper. Because this is how I work with people, is that, like, how many of them are, what trade are they in? They did that. How many are men and women? How many are male? How many are female? How many are couples? The minute you got to females and couples, they didn't know. They had no idea. And I sat back and I just looked at them for, you know, I you know, that awkward 60 seconds in a room.
Yeah.
I really like that, because for me, it's making them think like, oh shit. I mean, that's why they hired me. It's like, you have to start thinking about this.
Yeah.
And I take it from the perspective of me when I first started. So I'll share this story a little bit to make it fast, because this is not about me, it's about you. But I'm getting to the space with you. It's like, when I got on Instagram, nobody was doing giveaways.
Wow.
There was a painter in Idaho, Chris, who I have much respect for. He was giving away stuff on YouTube. And I watched what he did. I would join his YouTube on Tuesdays. I won a free shirt. And I just started writing companies on Instagram. Wolf Paintbrushes, who's not around anymore, and multiple companies. And I actually just started getting shit in the mail sent to. I get people in my DMs like, hey, can we send you this? Hey, can we send you this? And you know that feeling. You're like, oh, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
I started reaching out to different companies. And the response that I would get was, well, you only have 500 followers. You only have this. And I share this story with you to let other small creators know, keep pushing. I have 14,000 followers on Instagram. I have 100 plus thousand on TikTok. I don't know all of them. And in 2023, this is changing. It's what I'm teaching behind the scenes of companies. Like, stop looking at these people that have these big numbers.
Yeah.
Because their numbers don't, like, if you have 100,000 followers, just my opinion, and I do have that on TikTok. So I'm in this same speech, you know, I should have 70,000 people liking, responding in some way, but you don't. It's very, very, very rare that you do, because now you have 7 seconds, maybe 12 seconds to get someone's attention.
Yeah.
So in your growth of being, I remember you at 500. I remember seeing all these DeWalt, and I literally, I'd never, and maybe it's bad, I don't know, but I never wrote you and said, hey, congratulations. And that's one thing I'm really trying to change for me, because I think that we need to be supportive. It's not, it's community over competition. I've always preached that from day one with painters. I may be very confident. A lot of people mistake that for cocky. That's okay. I'm very confident in what I can do. I also show my mistakes to show my confidence, say, hey, I fucked this up, but I'm going to. But in your growth from going, again, I saw you up at less than 5,000, less than 500,
Wow.
now over 100. Can you talk about that growth? Did you see little valleys and mountains that you were climbing on that?
Yes. And also sometimes like backtracking or plateau, and oh my gosh, I can't, but you just have to keep pushing. And then all of a sudden you'll have like a video that you almost didn't. I think there was one that went crazy. I didn't think it was even one of my best ones. For some reason it got pushed and it brought in like a ton of followers. Your story though that you just talked about made me think of so many different things I could say. I think brands, if you don't mind me regressing and going back.
Absolutely. No, let's go.
Brands absolutely need to. That's why I'm like, why don't they put me on like a board, like to help their marketing people? Because I talk to the customers, probably I can guarantee more than their own people do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to the customers, I talk to their licensees, I talk to their employees. Like I have my, feelers out for everybody. But one thing that does irritate me, and again, I'm not talking smack because these people are all my friends and I follow them, but I'm thinking of 3 very big creators on Instagram that I happen to notice have a direct DeWalt link. We're going to use this as an example in their bio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know for a fact they're not doing that out of the kindness of their heart. They are being paid. So for people like me grinding away, loyally representing only the brand, that tends to piss me off. Because if they're paying them, why aren't they paying me? Because I'm the one that I know my videos, I'm so targeted. I'm reaching their people. I get sales every day, and a lot of them don't even go through. Like, I don't get anything for those sales. And they just look at their numbers. Oh, yeah, well, they're a big following. Yeah, but then you got to break it down to how many of those people that they're showing that product to are actually going to buy that product. You got to whittle it down. How many would buy it? And I look at their comments, their followers are leaving. And a lot of them are, oh, I thought you liked Bosch. You're with DeWalt now. Like, there's confusion there.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be prudent for them to go with the loyal, targeted, in my opinion, people that are very, you can't put a price tag on passion.
No.
And I think that that's very obvious for the followers and for the viewers. They're like, you're just a paid person telling me to buy that tool, unless you're truly loving it and working with it. I think that that's very obvious for the people. So why they do that, I have no idea.
I want to share a story with you about Graco. So let's hear from our sponsor. We'll pick this up.
Sure.
So first and foremost, Graco, shout out to them as my sponsor for the podcast. We're in season 8. If you have not seen the new neon tips, go to your local Graco retailer and get your tips. And also, they have a battery-powered machine that's powered by DeWalt. They're flexible. Absolutely love it. It is a beast of a machine. I have 4 machines that are battery operated from DeWalt that are Graco machines. It's the only machine that I have. But we will get back on the conversation. I love this conversation with you, Jennifer, about that. But let's hear from our other sponsor. Hey everyone, Splash here with Monkey Rung Products, your go-to ladder safety and paint and accessories. Let's first talk about their paint accessories. If you're going through rollers and just tired of throwing them away or just don't have the time to clean them, they have the new Spin Pro and Spin Pro Mini available. It's an amazing tool.
I've worked with them
all the way up to your 18-inch if you have the wherewithal to use those monstrous rollers on the job site. Also, the ladder accessories are amazing. It's like having an extra hand up on the ladder, but safely being able to access all your tools that you need to get the job done. Visit my friends at monkeyrung.com. Use my code SPLASH10, and make sure you subscribe to their emails because they have a whole list of tools coming out for 2023, and you do not want to be left behind. All right, so I use this saying a lot in the podcast. I use it on social media a lot. I'm going to pull the curtain back. I'm a firm believer that everyone's seen The Wizard of Oz. I think at some point in time, every human being at some point, no matter the language, no matter your race, religion, whatever that all that junk is, we've all seen The Wizard of Oz. I'm going to pull the curtain back. So let me know if I would imagine, again, this is the first real conversation I've ever had with you, Jennifer. And I'm very grateful that you stopped by and gave us some of your time. Many years ago, Graco reached out to me and said, hey, we like what you're doing. I was working with Titan at the time. So we had some conversations. I like what they were willing to offer. But one of the things that Graco said, and this just goes to a good company management, is they said, you explain things to the customer. You explain things to our potential buyers. And throughout the years of my life, and we'll save this topic for a little bit later in the conversation. I want to talk about Instagram and the bullshit that is, because there is bullshit on there. For a long period of time, actually, I just posted a video on TikTok where I got a lot of shit on it. Now, I will tell you this. If you're new to following Splash, I post shit to create a conversation. I know how to paint a door. I know how adjust my PSI and all that jazz. So I just did this video on TikTok. I think we're over 100,000 views on right now. We have like 70 comments on, which is what I love. And the comments are hilarious. Like this, like, oh, you did this. You shouldn't paint the door with that shut. But it was a video that I intentionally sprayed. Like the bottom half of the door, I think I sprayed up and down. The top half I did right to left. Just all sorts of like, when you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, come on. But I did it intentionally.
Yeah.
To create a conversation. So back to Graco. One thing that Graco does, if you're a company, DeWalt, Milwaukee, Flex, I'm talking to you, Flex, all these other companies, you got to take this, you have to add this. If you're marketing, you need to add this to your understanding, not your brand, but to your understanding. There are content creators, me and Jennifer, and there's 100 of us more. We get hundreds of direct messages. Hundreds. Hey, I got this DeWalt 792 drill. I don't know if you have it. This is what happened. Splash. I got this, GX19. I don't understand why I'm not getting the flow of my paint. I can go on and on. Do you get these questions from companies?
All the time.
Do we get paid for those? Do we get paid for answering those questions?
No. I also get like people sending me DMs and like it's kind of funny because they're blurry to protect me. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to open it. I don't know this person. And then I open it and it's their tool collection. They're DeWalt tools.
Yep.
So I get all like the cheerleading kind of.
It's because you don't follow them. If you don't, like, mainly that's generally
like
why you don't follow them.
Yeah, but they like people tag me. They tag DeWalt Tough, DeWalt like Canada, and Miss DeWalt, and I eat that shit up. Excuse my language.
No,
I'm like, man, I love that they thought of me, and then I actually share their stuff. People reach out to us because we actually talk. We answer them.
We know.
We care.
So with Graco, that's why I have such a great relationship with them. Is one, I fuck up and I'm okay with it because I don't have to. I no longer, I'll preface it this way. I no longer let people live in my head rent free. I just don't. I did for a long time. And I'm sure that I bring this up. Like, how have you managed I'm going to call it what it is, the bullshit of social media. I'm sure you've gotten the haters. I'm sure you've gotten the bullshit DMs, the bullshit tags. Hell, maybe even you've had Instagram pages about you, like I have, where people are trying to knock me down. Like, and it is hard. Like, but how mentally, season 8 has really become a mental health season of the Blue Collar Tribe. So if you have a story or something you feel comfortable sharing, please do, because I love this. I love this space of let's work through the bullshit, because that's all it is. And jealousy is truly a bitch, but in reality, it's like, we're actually really here to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a lot of stories on that topic. I can also tell you that good can come of that. If you look at it from the perspective of, how am I going to take that and make it work to my advantage? So one of my most loyal friends and followers on Instagram, his name is Seth. I won't say his last name. He actually found me because there was a Milwaukee fan page just totally beating me up.
I know that fan page. I know the fan page.
Okay. So and I don't follow, and this is how many Milwaukee pages I follow. Okay?
Don't waste your time.
Okay. So, and Milwaukee fans, that's great. Like, I'm not here to tell you what brand you should like, but he looked me up because of that and found me and was like, man, I got to tell you, and then once he watched my YouTube story, and like, we've become really good friends. So A, good things can come of that. And B, you kind of almost have to look at it as, wow, I'm big enough that they even know who I am. Yeah. And I also use that as fuel for myself. And those people, like, I have a couple on YouTube that claim they don't follow me. Like, there's a couple haters. There's one in particular that is probably on my videos faster than the people that are my followers. And
they always are. They always are.
Man, he has something he's got to say with and he likes his own comment immediately. But I have to look at him. And the reason I haven't blocked him is honestly because there's been days that I've been like, I can't take this anymore. I feel like giving up. And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to let that guy have satisfaction of, like I gave up and quit. And also he's helping my metrics.
Oh, yeah.
And like your video with the painting thing, like you did that on purpose because you knew people would have a lot to say, and that just drives engagement. So if you look at it from that perspective of how your haters can help you, then just like you can't let it get you down. But it can be a lot to deal with.
It can be. So I had a year. I would be lying if I didn't admit this. I had a year that I cried a lot because I would get email after email, and especially from people who said they were my friends, of like, oh, did you see this video that this person did? I don't care about saying his name. And I mean, it got to the point where 5 of these dudes threatened to come to Utah to beat me up, like literally come to Utah and fight me. And I wrote all of them back. I said, listen, come do it. 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Either 1, I'm going to run away from you because I think you can kick my ass and I'm afraid of you, which probably isn't going to happen. But B, we're going to get in a fight. But after the fight, I'm going to pick you up because I'm going to knock you down. And I'll go buy you a beer and buy your plane ticket back home. Because 1, truthfully, call it confidence or cockiness. I'm going to say it's my confidence. I ain't afraid of nobody. I'm not afraid. I have been in so many stupid bullshit fights. I have brothers, I have sisters. Like I went to a school where I was a minority, with a bunch of Polynesians. So like I've been thrown in a locker. Yeah. I know that feeling. But to those people that want to hate, 1, you are helping me, but it was such a hard, and I'm really glad that I had a wife who was like, not just my best friend, but that person to be like, what the fuck do you care for? But it does hurt your feelings because it's like, I'm pushing this out there. I'm pushing this, like, I want to be this good person. I'm a really good person. The model's like, be good. You get back that. But when you sit back, like you said, Jennifer, you sit back like, okay, I'm getting this. How can I play with it? So in the videos that I do since then, I've really learned that like I'm helping more people out by showing fuck ups, whether intentional or not, because not all of them are intentional. Like I got to be real. There's some things I do fuck up and then they're not. And then I watch back the video. I'm like, oh shit, I should have actually done it this way. Mm-hmm. But I leave it because 1, I don't care. Well, let me say this the right way. I leave it because I care because I know someone else had the same issue.
Yeah.
And in the comments, if you're a hater, I just opened a door for you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now listen to this perspective. I opened a door for you to duet my video or whatever you want to do and say, hey, this is how this should be done. And then let company X, i.e. Graco, say, hey, wait, maybe we want to work with this cat, not Splash anymore. And you know what? I'm okay with it because I've had that moment. I don't know if you have. I'm not saying I'm done with my success because no, I feel like I've just started. I have this rebirth of energy. My wife and I were on a cruise in Mexico. On the same cruise, this happened twice. I was wearing a Troll Co hat, Dirty Hands, Clean Money.
Yeah.
That week before or 2 weeks before, I've done some work with Troll before. Shout out to them. Love them. I was wearing their hat. And this dude comes up behind me and he grabs me on my shoulders, which I don't like to be touched. So if you see me in public, don't do it, please. But I know someone's going to do it now. And he comes up, he's like, dude, Splash, what the fuck's up, man? Can I get a picture with you? And I'm like, yeah, dude, what's up? This goes back to like, I don't know all my followers. Yeah. I didn't know who he was. And he's like, dude, it's so-and-so. I'm like, oh, hey, I recognize the name. I'll generally recognize the name, but some of you guys and girls don't post your pictures, which is good. Mm-hmm. And his wife's like, dude, my husband loves you. He talks about you. It's when the podcast was called Coffee with Contractors. Like, this is old school Splash, like way old. Same thing happened the next night. It's a female. She's a welder. She's like, Splash, can I get a picture with you? Like, I didn't know you own Troll Co. That's so awesome to see you because I happened to be wearing a shirt and a hat that day. And I'm like, I don't own them. They just did a picture of me. It was that minute I was like, whoa. And I had 3,000 followers at the time. I think I had like 3,200 and change. And I'm like, and my wife, we're out on the balcony, I love cigars. And she's like, you fucking did it. I'm like, what? She's like, people know you.
Yeah.
And it was that minute that she's like, "You're making a change. You're
Yeah.
making a difference. So whatever you're doing now, continue doing." And that was in that middle ground of like the bullshit I was dealing with. And it really, I went home and meditated because that's what I do. And I was like, just keep pushing through.
Yep.
Keep
You
pushing
just
through.
you just have to keep going. I
And
do have a story because you know, like, it is hurtful because we're humans. Like,
yeah,
we want everyone to like us. We want everyone to recognize how hard we work, and you know, like, and to be recognized. But there, it does hurt the most when it comes. I recently had a YouTube person that I thought was a friend of mine that left a comment on one of my videos, and I was like, no, that wasn't cool. And I kind of called him out. But like, it's those kind of things that make you think, yeah, like, it hurts you to your soul. But I told him, like, a friend wouldn't leave a comment like that.
yeah.
It wouldn't
I
happen.
think
Even if
that
you thought it. Even if you thought it, you don't have to say it. And the reason why, and here's what I found with my following, sometimes they're okay with me until I come too closely into their territory.
Mhm.
And it just so happened, like, I was showing an impact wrench, and I'm not a mechanic, but like, I
But
changed
your
I
dad
changed
is?
the flat tire in my video, and that
Yeah.
was his comment. He's a mechanic, and I think he felt threatened. There was another time I had a friend who was in landscaping, and he got weird with me, and it was because I showed a landscape. So it's really tough when you wander into their area of expertise, and that's when people, and to just kind of get back on the topic, though, that's when I think that those hateful comments come, is because something about your video sparked insecurity in them,
Yeah.
or you were a threat in some way.
Well, my story is very similar to yours in the sense of, and I know why my haters hate me, and I love it. Like, I want to give you all a hug. I'll buy you a round of beer, whatever you want to do. My business completely. This is all a fluke. Like, I don't like to say it was a fluke. I'm where I'm at because I'm supposed to be where I'm at, and I paved my way here. In short, I was going to school. I just lost my job. I was white collar, um, and my wife texted me. She's in the next room. I'm downstairs. She's like, "Hey, go to this house. They need their house painted." Like, I'm not a fucking house painter, but she knew that I wasn't. She knew that I was like, okay. From the male perspective, if you're a stay-at-home dad, which I was at the time going to college, society's view of you is a lot different. Now, I don't view this anymore for myself, so maybe this will help those men and women. But like, when you aren't bringing in pennies to the house, the world looks at you very differently, especially if you're a male. Especially if you're a male. So she knew this. I was probably being a little like around the house. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to school. I was actually going to school, truth be told, to be a medical director. I wanted to work in hospitals across the US and give away free healthcare. Like,
Wow.
that was my goal in the realm of me going to school. Is I had this idea that I could build this company. Again, I was still in the mindset like, I'm going to build a company. I'm not going to go work for someone, but you had to start where basically go to these rich people who need tax breaks and say, hey, donate this. We're going to give Johnny and Jennifer a liver or a kidney, whatever it was. Like, that was really a passion of mine. Not that I ever had the experience, but there was just something about giving. I've always been that person, like, let me give. So when she said, hey, go to this house, and I shared this story, and the hate, that's the minute the hate starts, like, you're not a fucking painter. Why are you showing us what to do? I worked with my grandpa for 30 years. And I'm like, well, fuck you, because I've made more money. Like, and I'm very confident in that saying. So, like, but back to what you're saying about the mechanic and the yard guy, everybody wants to piss on your territory like a
Yeah.
dog to say, hey, Miss DeWalt is mine. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't tell me how to do my job.
Mhm.
And it's like, hold on. Why don't we take this as an opportunity to use our favorite word in social media now? Let's collab. Like, do
Yeah.
it. Why not say, hey, that's really cool. Did you think about this? And I tell you this to the haters. This is why you aren't getting sponsored. This is why DeWalt, why people aren't sponsoring you. You are being watched. when I go to trade shows, and
Exactly.
I'm sure you've had this experience. I was just at NHS at the National Hardware Show. I was shocked. It's stupid funny, but it's that little like fanboy of like, hey, I'm a celebrity. I'm gonna be real. There's times I feel like it, but someone came up to me like, oh, dude, you're like, I was talking to another contractor, and this person in the booth next to me was like, oh, dude, I love your podcast. I listen to you. I didn't know that was you. And I'm like, how do you not know it's me? I throw my fucking face up everywhere, but they don't follow me on Insta. They don't follow me. They just listen to the
Oh,
podcast.
okay.
And so when I see this and get those feelings, I'm like, okay, I'm making a difference.
Hmm.
And that's what I care about.
Right.
So the collaboration is so important. And, I'm sorry your friends didn't look at it that way of like, hey, you know, why is this person doing this? Instead of looking at it that way, why don't you look as an opportunity? Like, this person just opened the door for me.
Right.
There's now a chance for me to roll out on the carpet and show Toro built companies, as we'll go landscaper, Toro built like, hey, I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Because now Instagram, but TikTok was the leader of this. Like, you can stitch and duet videos now on Instagram. So you really have a good opportunity to be like, hey, I love that, that you did that with your tire change. But next time you should do this, add this
Right.
special tool in. And I think there are some creators that understand that. There's some that don't.
Right.
But it is hard. I want to talk about something you said recently about companies having like, I'll be honest, I teeter every day about opening an Amazon store or having a link tree that has all these tools that I like. But I see so many content creators doing that already. And the ones I've talked to, they're like, bro, I don't make shit on it. I make maybe $100 a month. Now, money's money,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Yeah.
But then I
Yeah.
look at it like, I do know one person. There's one creator that they do they say they do, again. They say they're making about $4,000 a month on it. And I'm like, I don't know. I doubt it, because I know the other company, and they're one of the big 4 tool companies. They don't pay anybody. And the ones that they do pay, I know their numbers. Like, your analytics tell me a lot. Like, I'm not a numbers guy, but I'm an analytic guy. There's a difference, people. I'm looking at that. Like I saw someone, there's a painter, I won't call him out, that 3 months ago they were at 6,000 followers. They're already up to 180,000 on Instagram.
Wow.
But I look at their content and I'm like,
They paid for those followers, or
I'm going to throw the key away. They haven't said, but they have one video that has 1 million views.
okay.
And everything else is like 3,000 to 25,000. And I'm like, that doesn't, like Keith Lee on Instagram or on TikTok, if you know who that is.
I
Like,
did.
he's grown to 4 million in such a short time, but he is doing it in such a way that's very unique. It's not tool related for our conversation, but growth like that in all aspects of life, it's not really healthy. And I know
Mhm.
almost everyone at some point has tried to pay for followers. We've all looked at it. We've all gotten those emails. Is it a bad thing? No, it helps your numbers, but I
I would.
actually,
I would not. Don't
no,
do
I
it.
wouldn't. I've never
Anybody listening, do not do it.
and I say that, like, so during COVID was a great time for influencers to be on
Yeah.
TikTok. So I had one video that we were at about 15,000 followers. After I posted that video, I jumped up to 65,000 in a day. So is it possible? Yes,
Yeah.
it's very possible. What is really hard is to maintain that traction.
Yeah. Yeah. Because people will unfollow.
Yeah, and I know that Instagram and Twitter, well, not Twitter, but Instagram, and YouTube are looking at TikTok right now and being like, okay, what do we need to do? So they added the duets or the reply videos on
They're adding a
Instagram.
lot of stuff on there, though, that they're just, in my opinion, TikTok, like the trivia.
Yeah.
I don't want to do your trivia. And I think you have to pay for it.
Yeah, you do, but like for that, so TikTok is now they have 10-minute videos. Like, I'm on this, I got invited to the new creator space where if my videos are a minute or longer, I can get paid, but I can't go back. So I make money if my videos are a minute or longer, and so many seconds is considered a view that you get
Okay.
paid for. For me, a longer video works better because one, I like to talk a lot, and two, it's hard just showing a picture of a tool or talking about like, oh, hey, here's a monkey rung. Here's monkey rung's new thing. I can't just show it and have everyone know what it is. I got to actually do a video on it. So I will probably switch it over. But one thing that like I've heard rumors for quite some time, like Instagram's going to go back to, or Instagram's going to add a feature where like you and I, we can have 1 million followers, but we can only follow like 5,000 or 10,000 people.
Why would they do that?
Because TikTok does it for 10,000
Huh.
right now. They're and their reasoning behind it, I quite don't understand. But I mean, I've said this before, and I do not mean any offense to any of my followers. I actually get people, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I've actually had people write me and be like, hey, I have followed you for a while. Why don't you follow me back? And I tell them like, hey, I'm sorry, but when you are truly a content creator, your job is to push content out. Your job isn't necessarily to be your friend. And I hope that makes sense to what I'm saying to people. Like, it's not that I don't want to be your friend. It's not that I don't care about what you're putting out there. For me, like I follow tool companies. I follow creators that I want to collaborate with. And in the last 8 months, well, probably maybe 4 months, I've been really trying to change that atmosphere where I'm looking at smaller creators and saying, hey, what do you want to do together? How can I work with you? Because if I can help you be successful, I'm doing a good job. If I don't get paid, if I get paid for it, whatever. It's not about the money. It's about creating a culture and showing people like, hey, you can have your own platform. There's one guy that he's really good. He has like, I think he's close to hitting 4,000 followers right now on Instagram. He's been around nearly as long as I have. And he's getting 1,000 to 2,000 people viewing his content. He doesn't have a lot of followers. And I always tell him he's doing a great job. And he's like, but I'm not getting the follow. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Your analytics show you're getting 60% of your followers to watch you.
Yeah.
Look at me. I mean, I did a video a few days ago and I throw shit up there just to throw shit up there, see if it sticks. I did one video, had 13,000 views. The next 10 videos were like 300 people saw it. I can't control that.
And that's how it goes. It's like, even, and then one will spike and then the next, you just don't know. And that's just basically how it goes.
I'm going to swerve on you on the conversation because I think you and I could actually have conversations on growth on Instagram, and we'll probably do it again with your Instagram growth. Do you have a favorite collaboration? Are you a collaborator with other companies? Do you feel like you collaborate a lot?
Yeah.
Is there someone that you really?
A lot of brands. And actually, you mentioned COVID. COVID was a time where I was getting offered. I had turned, and I still turn people away. Like I can't work with everybody. But yeah, I worked with another spray company, paint sprayer company, Monkey Rung. It's funny that that's a sponsor because I've worked with Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of different, but just COVID seemed to bring out the offers because people had to figure out a different way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So they turned to content creators.
Yeah.
No, and I have a lot of videos I do that I'm not, like you said earlier, like I have one company that makes DeWalt products, but then they also make those products for other lines. And I'm doing their videos. That's the beauty of being a content creator. I don't have to just do one thing, but they pay me to do videos showing their product and then they use it on their channels.
Yeah. And I want to say this to companies that are, I think I know who you're talking about. We can talk off screen. I think I know who it is. But these companies, it's funny when they approach me, they always like, well, we have someone else who has more followers. I'm like, that's great. I said, but you got to look at numbers. You got to look at who's viewing it and why they're getting the views. We did, I don't know. I did so many videos for companies. Like we did a video on TikTok and I sold out this company's warehouse. on a 2 million view video. It was not my intentions. And you said it earlier, like the
I've had that
dumbest
happen.
videos.
I've had that happen a couple times.
The dumbest videos you do are like this video was like I actually had the homeowner. I was painting a friend's house, and when I do, if I ever paint anymore, it's just content related. Like I've had people like, "Oh, you retired?" Like, bro, do you know how often I record things? Like, I literally have a camera that I set up, recording everything, and I can just cut and splice. So this homeowner, I was getting ready with their house, and I said, "Hey, come out and can you hold my camera for me?" Because I had to get it near some water. And she's like, "Yeah, okay." So we did the video. I went home and posted it. 2 days later, the owner calls me. He finally sees that I tagged him in there in the video. He's like, "Hey, bro, can you take that video down? I have no more products. I have over 300 emails wanting this product. Like, I need you." I'm like, "I'm not taking it down." I said, "You're not even paying me. I
Right.
I I made $2,200 off that video from TikTok. I'm not taking it down." He's like, "What do you mean?" And it opened a door to relationship. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you got to understand what we're capable of.
Right. I had that happen recently too with a product, and I'm like, I didn't even get paid for that.
No.
And here's the kind of hurtful thing for this product that I did that blew up on TikTok and got him all kind of sales. I went to his Instagram page, and there's all these other, and I don't mean to throw out the guy card thing here, but there's all these guys. And I'm like, why didn't you feature a picture of me with, like, look what I did for you? And I'm not even good enough to make it on your Instagram. And I can take a picture. I don't have to be all posy. Like, I can have just this product on my workbench and take a good photo, and you
Mhm.
can tag me. But I'm like, I don't know if I'll do any other work. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the
Do
fence.
you do you feel it's and I apologize for the silence here. I'm trying to word this the right way. Do you feel it's a little like a dead horse, like beating a dead horse sometimes when you do things and these companies don't acknowledge it at all?
Yeah.
I don't want to say hurtful. Hurtful is the wrong word, but it really, for me, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Like,
Yeah.
mm,
If I wasn't so purpose driven, I would have given up on the DeWalt thing a long time ago, because there's so many. I honestly feel like it would be a great Netflix series.
yeah,
All of the things that have happened in my story, because it's been like, there's so many different people that have been in charge that it's like I'm only at the good graces of whoever's in charge at the time, and then they leave, and then I got to start all over again.
yeah. It's
But yeah, working with companies, and that's why people like, one thing that hurts maybe more than not being sponsored is taking hate from people who think I'm sponsored. That's like acid in my wounds, because they're like, "Oh, you get all this free stuff," and it's like, "Oh, if you only understood." First of all, a lot of things I did buy on my own, but the free stuff, trust me, it isn't free. You either pay with your time or you pay with your money. Nothing is free
yeah,
in life, and people should know that. But it's like,
nothing's
if you
free.
only knew, like we were talking about early, all the messages I get and filter from people because I can't get through to customer service and they reach out to me, or just the good that I've done and post on like multiple, like each piece of content goes on multiple places. Like, that takes time.
Yeah, I will tell content creators this: if you are like us, like Jennifer and Splash, if you get these messages, I any news is good news. There's that saying, "No news is good news." In the social media world, any news is good news. So one of the things that has helped build my platform, and not even the platform itself, but build a good relationship behind closed doors, is like Graco. When someone asks me a question, I'll send them the question. Like, "Hey, here's a question. This is what I answered," because sometimes, like, I really don't know everything as much as I am confident in that. I don't, but it's a great working relationship. So when people ask me, I I tag them. I'll tag the company in. So I'm going to give you content creators a little bit of like, here's how to continue to build your platform. Tag the company and then DM them. Say, "Hey, I had this question. Here's what I answered. I hope it was good. Would you like to use the video?" Just ask them. And honestly, with some companies, we'll say this, and which is leading me to a question for you. Like, some companies, their tools are so expensive that it's not about the money you get. If you get a $10,000 sprayer, I don't need to spend 10 grand. So be grateful. Like there is this gratitude. Then there's some companies, like I have one company, their product's like $45 and they want me to buy it and then do it. And I told them, I said, I do not pay for my products. I'm sorry. I
Heck
just don't.
no.
And then they're like, okay, well, we'll send it to you and we'll do this. And I tell them, like, listen, check your email. I've emailed you. I have numbers, you know. And I think right now, I feel, especially after COVID, that we're done with it. I feel safe saying that. It's becoming a little bit more cutthroat. At the National Hardware Show, I will not name names because I don't want to throw any of you content creators on our bus. I will say this, you have a few things in common. There's 5 of you I'm talking about. You all have over 100,000 IG followers. Stop selling yourself like a hooker on the corner. Let your content speak for you. The conversations that I would hear with other creators in booths next to me was just mind-blowing. I don't know if you've ever experienced this or seen
Mm.
this, but I'm listening to people like, "Oh, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Send me this, and I'll do this, and I'll do this," and which is great, but it's this really, and when I say a fine line, think of the thinnest line that's ever been made. I don't know what that is or gauge or whatever it is. Like, it's a very fine line of you giving up your talent because in about 6 months to a year, it's already started. Back to the TikTok being 10-minute videos. Like Facebook ads have stopped paying content creators. TikTok has dropped in what I'm making now. Instagram has dropped. And we used to 2 years ago, it was like I can push a video out, get 100,000 views and make $1,000. Now that's $100. So we've really dropped that.
Mhm.
And you're literally selling yourself on banking that you're going to get a million post views. Like, slow down. Have set numbers. Say, hey, I'll do this work. This is my cost. I'm not taking any less. If they don't value you, they're not your company. Because in time, they will come to you.
Yeah.
They will. And like, I'm not sponsored by Milwaukee. We'll talk about Milwaukee for just a second with me. I have gotten tools from Milwaukee via reps, not via headquarters in Milwaukee. Okay. And I like it. I get tools, I get products. I'm not getting paid, but I have a few pack outs. I have a few really cool tools that have been given to me from the reps. And it's really like, hey, I just need you to do this.
Mhm.
It's about building that relationship,
Yeah.
and I know
And you
for
have
you,
value. You have value because people are going to see that. And that's what I think a lot of times people get irritated because they're like, well, I like Milwaukee. I want to be a tester. Send it to me. And it like you look at their page and they have like no following at all. Like nobody. They're not like
yeah.
whatever. And it's like I think that sometimes people don't understand how that works. It's like they're gonna send it to us because we're gonna use it and we're gonna show it and we're gonna do a good job in doing that.
Yeah, it's I know you do giveaways from time to time.
Mhm.
I'm working with at the time of this recording, I'm working with Gridlock Table. It's a great product. I love their product. I'm using for a while. Met them at the National Hardware Show. Um, we're doing a giveaway. I'm doing some giveaways for him. And and I'm not saying not to do it, listeners, but like the amount of people that get my emails, hey, I want that. I want to do that. And I am so in this space of like, I want to be transparent and honest. And if it hurts your feelings, I'm not going to apologize because of the truth. But I've had to tell people, like, because with some companies, not Gridlock, I won't say which companies, but there are some companies that they'll say, hey, Miss DeWalt, here's this product. Pick a person to give it to.
Uh,
And
are
like
you serious? I've never had that.
I do. And again, it just, I think it's a different level and it's my approach. But I mean, for 5 years, I gave away hundreds of $1,000s of tools with my Splashes 12 days giveaway. But, and again, this is my business model for me. And when companies do that, I really like that freedom. But I have to be honest to people where I'm like, hey, Jennifer, you're not posting as much as I want to, you know, give this to you. You aren't doing the posts that are going to help impact and drive sales. So I share that story with the audience because that is when a company is looking at you, that's all they're looking at is their bottom dollar. And I am speaking to these companies now on my behalf and Ms. DeWalt stuff. Like, you guys got to stop. You got to look at all the other tangible things. We're answering so many questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are showing mistakes. Some of us are showing a complete, like, these guys, I do open boxes too, but with an open box, you're just showing the tool. I want to see the tool in
Right.
action. I think that's a social media. I think I follow that person. Tools in action. Like, we want to see this in on a real live job site because that's going to show them what they're there. But like, don't be afraid to show a mess up and actually encourage people to comment.
Yeah.
Like, hey, so I do have some funny questions for you, and you answer them as you wish.
All right.
Do you have other battery operated power systems in your garage that aren't yellow?
No, I don't.
Nothing. So
Nothing.
you're 1000 DeWalt.
I have a corded, it was my husband's. He has a corded Milwaukee Sawzall
Okay.
that every now and then I'll bring out, like, to do a funny video. Like, I did a You Are Not the Father, and I opened the Milwaukee case and pull out, or maybe it was the other way around. No, I think I pulled out my DeWalt reciprocating saw out of the Milwaukee, and I did You Are Not the Father. So that's the times that it makes it out. But I'm 100% DeWalt.
All right. I did a TikTok video and my DMs were hilarious. Is it DeWalt or DeWalt?
DeWalt.
DeWalt.
Yeah.
It's not DeWalt.
No, I've heard people say it that way. I actually, one of my followers is a descendant of Raymond DeWalt.
Oh, okay.
And I asked him and it actually, like, the real saying was funky. I'd have to look back at it, but it was like nothing that anybody would have ever guessed. But the brand says DeWalt.
My dad said it's DeWalt. Like, you remove the E.
Yeah, it was something. I'm like, man, everybody's saying it wrong if that's the case. But this is an actual family member. His last name is DeWalt.
Oh, nice. What's your favorite product? Your absolute favorite. If you had to walk out of your, okay, I'm going to set a scenario for you. It's not going to happen, but you have to run out of your shop. You only have hand space for one tool because everything else, like, you're just leaving. The zombies are coming, and
okay,
you just need this one tool. The battery will always stay alive. What's the one tool you take?
I would probably, if it was on fire, I would probably grab my table saw.
Okay.
But I get asked that a lot. What's your favorite? And I'm like, oh my, like, that's like asking you to pick your favorite kid because I love them all for different reasons. There's like my workhorse tools. And then there's like the ones that are just plain fun. Like I got a pressure washer last year. Oh my God, I pressure washed I can't wait for the weather to be nice enough to go out and spray more stuff off. Like, I love them all for different reasons.
You sound like my wife. She just asked me last night. No joke. She's like, hey, did you buy that new power washer? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, I need it. I'm like, babe,
What
there's
brand did you
snow
buy?
everywhere. Mighty M.
Okay.
So I've had Ryobi's. I've had a few. The Mighty M one.
I was gonna ask,
What do you have?
Mine's a DeWalt.
Yours is DeWalt.
Yeah.
Who's it powered by? Is it the Honda engine? I'm not sure what. You have to look at the engine. It'll say somewhere on there.
I did a YouTube video and I'm like, man, I'm blanking out on that part because I know I talked about the motor.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I covered that part.
Yeah. I shouldn't say this, but it doesn't matter. One of my Sherman managers gave it to me. Brand new. Said, hey, I got a few extra ones. Take one. Just do a video
I got
for
mine
me.
Free
from
a rep. But what I had to do, I drove to Pittsburgh and stayed overnight and attended an event, a DeWalt event.
Yeah.
And I missed that's why I say when, like, people say, oh, that's free. It's like, no, it isn't. I missed my son's last day of high school as a senior. Like, I missed seeing him and, like,
Yeah.
and drove and stayed overnight on my, like, I paid for my own gas. They did put me up in a hotel, but like I wasn't compensated. But he did send me a few. He's like, "What's on your wish list?" And he did send a couple free tools. But I say that like, free because
Do
it's like, yeah,
you
look what I had to do to get that. Like
I sense this in you. Do you feel guilty when you tell people you got things for free? Because you know it's not free. Like
I
you know
know
the
it's not
time and
free.
money, but do you feel guilty
Not at
sometimes?
all, because I
You
deserve
don't?
that and then so much more. I don't know if I can put a feeling on it. I just want people to know that like the things that I do get to show are very much earned.
Yeah. I
They're way
think that I think when I say guilty, I feel for me, I feel like one, I'm grateful. I'm
I am great.
grateful that I put myself in the situation, and I will take that. I will take that. I did put myself here. Without a shadow of a doubt. It's like I have a social media course that will be available soon to my listeners. And I literally talk about a lot of stuff we're talking about, but it's a full course on like the things you should do and not do. And one of the things I tell people in the very first page of my product, I tell people this: love everybody, but you don't need to like everybody. There, you're going to come across people that you just don't like, and it's okay. Let's get that out of the way. Second thing is, and I get a lot of shit for this, and I don't care because I'm as a business, I still own my company. I still own Splash Painting. Um, no one cares about your business. Nobody. People support you, but when the lights are off, when you're on that drive home after you've collected the paycheck, when you're coming back from Pittsburgh and you know you missed your son's day, nobody cares. And
True.
I said that to someone and like they legit wanted to fight me, him and his wife. Like, no, we can't. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, I'm telling you, as someone like my wife, Shama, supports me 100%. Do you think she cares about any of the other bullshit? Do you think that she cares when there's a Graco box in front of the house or Monkey Rung sends me some stuff? No, she doesn't care. She looks at me and says, "Congratulations, now go
Yeah.
to work." And if you can understand that in the rooted sense of what caring is, you'll be so I feel this for myself and other people. You will see so much more success. So when I say I built this so I don't feel guilty that I get these things, because I mean, on average, on average, what do you think your average time is to do a tool review, a
Oh
box
my
review?
God. People have no idea.
Well, tell us the
To video. Okay,
idea.
so that's the funny thing. It's like, and I've been doing this for 6 years.
Mhm.
Um, to film and to get all the close-ups and the different, because if I do a tool review the way I want to do it, I'm going to show that tool being used in several different ways
And
or
different angles of the
and
shot.
different angles. And I filmed so much that sometimes my phone will start like tell me I'm out of memory. Like that happened yesterday. I'm building shelves in my basement and like it kept shutting off. And I'm like, I guess I'm done for the day. I got to clear out but to film it, it could take easily a couple hours just to film it. But before I do that, I write a script of the key points, all the stats on the tool, everything that I really want to, the key points I want to hit home on. So that there's like the preparation that goes before that, even
Mhm.
setting up my basement, clearing crap off, that might be in the background. So
Moving
yeah,
moving a
easily,
project that you're in the middle of?
yeah. So easily 2 hours to film it. Maybe I have spent all day editing, all day, like 6 hours
Editing that
straight.
was my day yesterday, was editing.
Editing takes so much time. And okay, well, there's my YouTube, but then I am an Amazon seller, which we can talk about that either
If you have time, I have all the time in the
I
world
am too.
this
I
morning.
have, this is what I have scheduled today.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah, so editing, and then if it's like, okay, well, I want to put it in this format too. So a lot of times I'll film vertically so I got to repeat it
Oh,
twice.
you changed that. I actually don't do that. I only have my phone vertically. I never go horizontal. Never thought
For
about it,
horizontal,
actually.
for YouTube, you have to though horizontal.
I'm not a YouTube kid.
Okay, so
I do post on YouTube Shorts, and I do have videos on there.
yes.
I just never think about that.
Okay, so well, when I'm talking about
Thanks,
tooling,
Jennifer. I have to think about enough.
yeah, no, I got to film it in 2 different formats.
Do you carry 2 cell phones with you?
No, I just have my one, but I do have a I do have a really nice camera that somewhere down here, but it's a pain in the butt though, because you have to like upload it and bring it to my camera so I can edit and something like
I
that.
don't like that.
Use it.
That's why I buy a new cell phone every year, and I take the old one and just use it on Wi-Fi or tether my
Yeah.
service. I'm actually due for a new one because this is actually a 3-year-old one. And I wish I could show so I have, give me 30 seconds, I'll tell you. I charged this last night. So this morning, it's 8 o'clock right now. I'm at 28%. My battery,
Wow.
I've used that phone so much that my battery has 2 hours.
Yeah. So my phone that I'm on too, like it's starting to, I really do need, being that I am 100, like every day filming content and using my phone, I really am, I'm due for a new one. But yeah,
It costs money to make money.
it really does. And that's another thing, like for content, and I don't want to scare anyone off from being content creators, but I want to also paint a realistic picture of the time that it takes to put into it. And like, okay, I got to pay for my phone. I got to pay for the app that I do my editing on. Linktree. Okay, there's a charge for Linktree.
How many apps a month? So interesting. I started using AI recently for a lot of my writing on my. Have you started
the
using
ChatGPT or whatever it is?
Yeah, but I use a different one. There's multiple. ChatGPT is good. There's another one. So the one that I use is, I like it for me. For those that don't know, I am not well written. You can put me in front of 1,000 people, and I'll have I can talk and shoot shit out of my mouth that you're gonna walk away believing everything I just said. You put me in front of a computer to write, fuck it, like seriously. So ChatGPT is great. The one that I use, it has different options. So, and I think ChatGPT does, but like it says Instagram post, YouTube header, YouTube description. So I usually have 60 to 80 words that I can just write keywords in, and it writes like 4 different options for me.
I'm going to have to try that.
I will. I'll tell you. But see, here's another thing. Like people, oh God, I love this conversation, Jennifer. Okay. People don't understand like the amount of work that goes into it. And so in the last about 6 months, I've really changed this. Like, I know I'm not the handsomest guy in the room. Like, let's just be clear. Like, I know, no, I don't shrug. Because what I'm saying is like, I like to be in front of
the eyes.
No. Oh no, like I know what I'm capable of pulling. Like I've seen my wife, she's fucking gorgeous. But like I'm more personality. So like on videos, I like to show my personality. I legit, and I will not tell you who they are. They're here in Utah. That's all I'll say. I've had a company tell me, you aren't what we're looking for. And I said, okay, hold on. My content is fucking valuable. And at the time, there was only one other painter who had more followers than me that I knew in the space. And I said, that's okay. I went to the competitor, killed it for him in 1 year, because one thing I do ask companies when I work with them is I want to know how many sales I've helped generate. Mm-hmm. So this was a 6-figure. I made this company over 6 figures.
Wow.
That's fucking awesome. And I rolled the company. I said, listen, you're not getting my looks. You're getting my charm and my fucking great personality. And my no
value.
filter.
I've also been turned down, and it's kind of funny because there was one company I approached, and it was a licensee of DeWalt. Mm-hmm. But there was a certain product I wanted to show that was new on the market, and they basically said, you're not what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but then everybody on YouTube and all of my followers are like, when are you going to show X, Y, and Z? And I like, just in the back of my mind, I know, they didn't want me.
Do you, when a company doesn't work with you, do you still post anything of theirs or not?
Well, for DeWalt, yeah, basically I've been doing that for 6 years.
No, I'm saying like, so I've this company that I just talked about. I've actually done videos where it's in the video, and I don't care, but I don't like when they say things like that. I just kind of like, okay, I don't take it to heart. Like I don't take it like really bad. you know, I just take it as like, okay, that's that person's depiction. But this was a different situation because one, I know what city they're in here in Utah, and I don't fit their niche at all. Like I've
Mm.
actually lost a sponsor. So when this podcast was called No Bullshit Blue Collar, I lost 4 sponsors. And I sat in a room with one bunch of white collar men and women, and they said, "You swear too much," saying no bullshit. I said, "Bro, if you knew the origin of why that saying was there, like I own the rights to it, but like they didn't care." I said, "Okay." I've had a dear friend of mine, like a very, and I know you'll know who this. I can tell you off camera. I don't want to throw this person on the bus because it's not. I respect people's values. I made a shirt that said "No Bullshit Blue Collar." I was sending them out to friends. I said, "Hey, help promote my podcast. Just wear it in some videos." He writes me, and then he calls me and says, "Hey, Splash, I can't. I am in the deep South. I'm very religious and Christian. The homes I go into, I couldn't wear a shirt that says no bullshit." He's like, "I know what you mean, and you're right, and I can't." I love that. I love that, like, that's the space. But again, let's just add this to that tool bag of like, we have so much shit as content creators to think about.
Yeah, we
Like,
do.
I slur my words a lot, but you may not catch that. Some videos you can. Sometimes I'll talk like this. It's because I'm going so fast. And I swear that video is perfect. And then I listen to it again. So one thing I really used as a tool, back to like you paying for tools and things, is I will record over. I've stopped a lot of my videos back to me not looking that good. Like I like to be in front of a camera, but I know that some videos are better without me in it, just showing the tools, which is a lot better in some aspects of life. But I voice over everything now.
Mhm.
And that adds a whole nother 20 to 40 minutes for me.
At least.
Because
Even
then
a short video.
yeah, but then like I don't know if you've ever done this where like you've done the video, you feel like okay, the video looks good. Then you're doing a voiceover and that light bulb goes off like fuck, I forgot this. I do it all the time.
I do too.
So I wasted an hour recording, 20 minutes doing voiceovers, and then I'm like, oh shit. And if I was a good person, I would put all my stuff away, which means it's not in the way of my wife. And so I had to go back out, set it up, and so I actually do 2 things. I'll talk through the video, and if it's okay, I will, but I have 3 laps, and they're like little puppies still. They're not really, but they act like puppies. And sometimes I hear them barking. I'm like, "Fuck, can't do it." So then I gotta go back into my studio and record over it.
All the time. That stuff happens as a content creator all the time. Or if I'm filming out in my workshop outside,
Yeah.
car drives by. A bird flew over and chirped. Like there's so many things I'm like, and like sometimes I'll include my bloopers at the end. And
do you get good feedback on those on your bloopers? I never post my bloopers, but I have probably 500 videos of bloopers that I've never done. I don't see the value in it, but I'm like,
I think it's funny.
Like
I think that it kind of shows that I make a lot of mistakes and that I can laugh at myself.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So I've done, I mean, there was one where I was demonstrating. There was a company I worked with where I was filling a pothole. It's great stuff. It comes in a bag. They sell it to municipalities, but it's like pre-made, like pothole filler.
Okay.
But you can buy it if you have like just a driveway or whatever that you want to, or something in front of your house that's annoying you. So I was trying to demonstrate this pothole filler in the Napa Auto Parts parking lot. And it just was crazy. Like I had to do my footage there and then do my spoken part down here in my basement because it just was, I don't know what I was thinking. Like I learned that day that if too much noise from the road, people coming out that knew me would talk to me in the middle of, you can see I'm filming and they're like, "Hey honey." And they come up and, so yeah, I don't know where I was going with that one, but yeah, it's just, there's so much that you don't even think about content creation wise.
The
And
editing, that's what we're talking. It's just
the editing. Yeah.
The editing of everything is so like,
It's
and
just
do you
so
ever look at
time
videos
consuming.
from 6 years ago and be like,
Oh
what
my
was
God,
I
they're painful.
thinking? Yeah.
Painful. One of my best performing YouTube videos, I can only credit that the DeWalt instructions were so bad that is the only reason, because my video really isn't that good either. I put together, it's the rolling stand for my miter, for my table saw.
Okay.
and the directions are lame. I mean, bad, like 12 pages. And people consistently say the directions were garbage. Thank you for your video. But my video was shot so far away. It was before I figured out that I had to do close up and far away for my spoken part. And it's just all spoken far away. And yeah, I cringe. I cringe every time I watch that. Even some of my tool review videos, I'm like, yeah, I really should have filmed that in use. Like I had drills that came, and it was winter. I didn't have anywhere to go out and do anything, but I really should have just got scrap wood and showed. I just talked about the stats, and I'm like, yeah, I really should. Like, so some of mine even are cringy, probably the cringiest to me and my children.
But I love looking at those videos because it helps me be a better person. Sometimes I'm like, what was I thinking?
It shows how far we've come.
Yeah.
And you have to, it's a necessary step in the process. We had to, that's how you learn. You don't just turn on your camera and become a great YouTuber or great content creator. You learn through mistakes and through feedback. And a lot of times people will be like, you're too far away, we can't hear you. And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Do you repurpose your videos yet? Or are you? Sometimes. I really like the repurposing of videos because what you're saying is you look at it and say, hey, this is a learning experience. That's why I like the voiceovers. So one day during the week, I leave my house, which has been really weird for me because typically as a painter, like I'm everywhere. So one day during the week, I usually go to a coffee shop, maybe a library. Once it warms up, I'll go up in the mountains and fish, and I will work. I do actually fish and work a lot, especially when I go ice fishing. You'd be shocked. Right. My wife she's like, aren't you up there to be peaceful? There are some days I just go to fish, but there's some days I'm like, hey, I'm going to bring my computer. I'm going to throw my line out and just like get to work because I am an instant gratification human. As a painter, like I can paint a wall, I'm gratified, like it's perfect. So when I have to do like content related stuff or video editing, it's like, oh, I dread it. I really do, honestly. Like I wish I had enough money to pay someone to do it, but then I know if I had that if I had that money, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I know me too. I wouldn't be happy with the way somebody edited my like.
They take your voice away. They take your voice away, and that's why people follow you.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know if you'll answer this question. Have you been approached by another company to say, hey, can we make you miss ... and not DeWalt?
Yeah.
Never been tempted?
I feel like I had somebody yesterday on LinkedIn commented that I'd look better in green. Like I have people, maybe I should back up. I've had a lot of people put out feelers. I've not had like Milwaukee call me and say, will you be Miss Milwaukee? I've not had that, but I have like on LinkedIn, I'm connected with a lot of people at corporate. And there was one yesterday and I looked at his title and I'm like, yeah, you probably could make that happen. He's like, I think you'd look better in green representing. And he said, who?
If it's Flex, tell them to get in touch with me. I want to talk about Flex real quick. And I actually talked about this with Tool Pro's wife about this because I know she's done
a friend of mine, by the way.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's an amazing. I finally got to meet her and her husband. Her husband is just like a walking encyclopedia of HVAC.
They're both friends. Yeah, I love them both dearly. I've been on both of their podcasts.
Yeah, they're awesome. I love them to death, and I think that like they're a couple that does it right, that doesn't listen to this shit. And sometimes I'm like, God, I don't understand how you do that, but I look up to you and I like what they're doing. But I'll talk about Flex in the sense of like, because I am really trying to get them. I've had some conversations with them. And I don't even know if they listen to the podcast, but I always take the mindset that someone's listening
that knows somebody.
Yeah, your marketing sucks, guys. Like you can't charge a product. You're charging what Milwaukee wants to do. I was at Lowe's yesterday and someone's like, hey, you should buy that Flex. I said, it's okay. It's not that I don't want to buy their products and start doing it, but like, I think that like, for me, I'm in a place now where it's different. My content is different. The podcast platform has made it significantly different as a content creator, but with Flex, and in the behind the scenes when I talk to companies, one of the things I tell them is I say, like, listen, you need to have men do stuff, you need to have women do stuff, and you need to have couples be doing work. In the content creation world, those are important things
Mhm.
because it's a personality that people are drawn to. People don't like I did a reel yesterday, and I really thought, like, this goes into, like, the creation of, like, I did a reel yesterday. I was at Home Depot, or no, I was at Lowe's. I took a picture of Craftsman, DeWalt, Cobalt, Flex, and Bosch. And all my post said was, when you buy products, do you buy off of brand, off of color, or off of platform? Like, what is their lineup of tools? Weirdly, in 20 less than 24 hours, I have like 30 views on it. I'm like, that's interesting. You
I
know?
think I saw that.
Yeah, and I've not gotten any comments on it, but it is a reel. And so when I if I did a stagnant post on it, sorry, I'm like swerving on this, it'd be a way different post. So this goes back into the content creators. Like, we play around with so many different ways because on TikTok now, on Instagram, on YouTube, there's so many different ways to show what we're doing.
Yeah.
So when I talk to these companies and I tell them, I said, listen, like, find like Build, the company build.com. He has Drywall Shorty Lydia on there as the drywall expert. And he has other men and women on there. And I love that you're bringing in different people from the realms. But I also know two companies, which I won't name them right now, because again, I want to work with everyone and help everyone be successful. They only have men, and they only have men that do, we'll say, framing. But you have a whole line of tools. Like, I talked to Hart a while back, and who's owned by TTL, which is Milwaukee and Ridge and stuff. And I told them, I said, you know what you guys are missing? And they're like, what? I said, you're missing a painter. You've no one on your market. I said, you don't think painters carry drills? Their response to me was, again, I don't know if this person still works for me. He says, painters aren't that important to our product line. I was like, interesting. Interesting that you are a new company. This is when they were new. And you don't think that a painter, I mean, as a painter, I have drills, I have oscillating. Most painters I know do some type of carpentry. So we have chop saws or saws. I mean, those are just like the three basic battery powered. But most painters I know have leaf blowers with them. I can go
Yeah.
on and on about the tools. So if you're a tool company listening to this, or, CEO, whatever department you're in, play in every playground,
That's
because
what
there's so many of us.
Yes, and that's what I hear a lot is that's not our customer. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think you know who your customer really is.
No, they
I've
don't.
made customers out of people that you wouldn't think were your customers. Do you know how many chainsaws I've sold to women?
Probably
Like,
a lot.
oh, we're only like hardcore like construction worker, and it's like that's not the people I'm seeing on Instagram.
Mhm.
And when's the last time you saw like a sander on a construction site? You know what I mean? Like, or a weed whacker. Then why do you make all those other tools?
Yeah.
Why
Well,
do you
because
make
our
all of those?
competitor makes them. Like,
Don't you want to sell tools? Like, why aren't you casting a broad? Like, you don't know who your would be customer is. Like, I feel like I'm hitting for what I do. I'm hitting everybody.
yeah.
I am hitting like so many of my followers are trades, are in construction. A lot of them, but then a lot like I get messages, like I just said, like from people that they are not talking to, that have money to spend, that just want good items that are going to last a long time. And those are the messages I get. And those are the things that I'm selling to people that are not in their target market.
Everybody, whatever tool you are, we have a relation. Let's talk about Monkey Run. So they're getting into the paint space. There's a brand new product that is on their website. I'm not at liberty to talk about it yet, but it's on their website. You can pre-order it. They have their spin roll pros behind me, and then they have their ladder rung. That ladder rung, their first tool, Monkey Rung's actual first tool, is a tool that every contractor can use.
Yeah.
Every contractor.
Yep.
This the little paint cleaners that we have here, the big ones. I've actually been doing some dumb shit behind the scenes, just seeing, oh, what else can I use this for?
Yeah.
I use this Spin Pro, the Spin Pro. If you're watching the video, you can see it. You actually can attach to your drill, wind up your spools. You can. There's a
Wow.
lot of different things that you can do, but that comes. I'm creative, but there's guys and gals out there that are more creative. So you said something interesting earlier, and I wanted to get back to it. So this is a perfect way to get to it. It's like, I think these companies need to stop looking at white collar men and women that are in their marketing department and start bringing in men and women like us. Like, I am retired from painting. It doesn't mean I don't know. The knowledge that I have from being a painter for 8 years is astronomical. Like, just the things I notice, like, and I love it. Like, I'm still a nerd about it. I still paint, but it's all content creation paint, which is really
Mhm.
funny when I say that out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, I do chuckle. I'm like, "Are you really a painter?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Did you
I
ever think that you'd be saying that? Yeah.
no, but, like, I do." It's just, and so if you're in that marketing department or you're the CEOs, like, bring us on.
Yeah.
I'm
We
not
should. I
I'm
really
not
feel
I'm
like we
not
need
begging you for a
consultants.
job, and you're not begging for a job, but what we're saying is like, you need a different perspective. Gone are the days that someone picks up a nickel ad and sees your thing. Gone are the days that you're in a J.C. Penney catalog. You're on a TV commercial. I can't other than the Super Bowl, I can't tell you the last time I saw a commercial,
Yeah.
you
Well, let
know?
me ask you this, and it just pains me to see them throw. To me, it's like a waste of money. Have
Yeah,
you ever watched a NASCAR race or a sporting event and saw a sponsor on the wall and ran out and bought that product?
no.
I can tell you I've posted a video and had multiple people buy that product from my video, and
Yeah,
not people that you think would want to buy it. Or
yeah.
possibly, yeah, the people that you thought bought it.
I Being an influencer that I am, the 2% of people I influence in the world, I buy from influencers. I buy. I mean, it's like, I'm a hat guy. I love hats. I want to do hat swaps every day with people. I just redid a new logo to launch some new hat line. And I've always like, I have a lot of ones in my room, in my little studio, because I have companies just make me hats like, hey, we'll make
Uh,
this one for you. Um, I'm in talks of collaborating with a sunglass line to make a splash
Wonderful.
special edition. And when I look at it, I'm like, I want everyone to have that, but I'm also like, wait, I don't want everyone to have that. So when we're in this space of like being the content creator, it's such this fun little creative space that we get to be in. And I think that to the guys that are in the and I say men, but they're men and women. Um, I don't want to generalize. I know it's changed in the workplace and hopefully continues to change in
Yes.
whatever gender they are. You guys and gals need to start bringing us in, because if I see someone wear something, I'm more apt to go buy that because we find similarities in people, or pardon my French, this comes from a job site, but like, it's who swings the biggest hammer. Oh, I can wear that better than you. I can work with that drill better than you, Jennifer. Let me show you. I like that competitiveness. I'm a very competitive
Bring it.
person. And so I like that attitude. But you need to start understanding that, like, not you, but like these companies, Flex, Bosch, Milwaukee, DeWalt, I'll throw all of them in here. Yes, if someone if someone breaks a tool, then they'll go buy a new one. But what they're missing out on from the perspective of marketing that I see it is most people, 4 billion people get on social media every day. That is a lot. And about, I don't remember, it's a huge number. Millions are new accounts on social media. I can't tell you how much shit I get from new people on TikTok. I love it. I embrace it. I'm like, hey, welcome. You're new to TikTok. I'm Splash. Thanks for dropping a dumb comment. Now my 100,000 followers get to see you, and then they delete their account. But I'm like the asshole that kills you with kindness, but I'll still give you a hug. But in that aspect of it, though, if they see someone using that tool, or again, you're on a cruise ship, you see someone wearing a Dirty Hands shirt. Hey, Splash wears that. I'm going to go buy that. I met that dude. Hey, Jennifer's rocking this Utah DeWalt. You had some Utah thing you were giving away, this DeWalt hoodie sweater. If I see that in the store, I'm going to be more apt to buy, or I'm going to go on Amazon or wherever and look for it. That's where that marketing, like you said, I mean, I'm a pro wrestling nerd. I watch wrestling like religiously, like fake WWE stuff. I buy their marketing because I see people wear their shirts out.
Right. And people are passionate about it. One of the nicest comments, I think, or like it was a huge compliment. And I get this a lot. I saw DeWalt and I thought of you, or I saw you and I thought of DeWalt. But somebody said that they were at Lowe's and they weren't even in the market for anything. They weren't in the market. They went down the DeWalt aisle and they realized, hey, it would be nice to have a miter saw.
Yeah.
They bought a miter saw just because they saw it and they thought of me.
I switched from Ryobi to DeWalt because I saw in person. So I know I am a contractor. I actually am a GC, not just a paint business. Right? I have my full GC license. I'm of the mindset, like, if it saves me time and money, I'd rather hire someone to do something, because it's, if I were to do it, it's going to take me 12 hours because I'm going to want to record all of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, so right now I have to stretch some carpet in my house. I could do it. I could go buy the things. I've done it before, but I don't have any of the tools. By the time
I have a company that reached out to me yesterday that, do you need to pull staples?
No, I need to just have my carpet. We had a flood, so I had to rip my carpet up, flap it over.
I told them, like, I can't work with everybody, and I'm looking for a carpet installer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and keep note of what you just said. Keep that in your back mind. So it's $300 to have them come in and stretch carpet. And my wife, I said, hey, I could do it. She knows I could do it. I don't want to mess it up. And by the time I get done filming and editing, I'm 15 hours deep.
Time is money.
So I'll just, and what I do is I record these guys that come and do work, and I talk about it because that's my new platform as the podcast. So back to Ryobi. When I first started my paint business, I had zero tools other than a Makita drill. I had a drill from Makita that my dad gave me when I left high school, when I graduated high school. And I told my wife, like, I'm not going to go into debt with our business, because that was important. I don't want to start a business to be in debt. And we never have, thank goodness. So everything about was Ryobi. And then the tools started coming to me and whatnot. DeWalt has sent me some things. And in that time frame, I saw someone in person use a Milwaukee drill. And I was like, and my wife at dinner that night, she's like, why haven't you bought Milwaukee? So as every typical spouse would do, I said, well, my drill that I have that I broke 4 times is a Ryobi. And then this is how much that, like, comparison. And she's like, start buying Milwaukee. Like, spouses, don't tell your spouse that, because you just open a bad door. And again, it's situation. I was in a really good situation. We are in a great situation. So I went and dropped about $11,000 on tools.
Wow. 11,000? Holy smokes.
When I buy shit, I go deep. Like, I'm going to go.
You bought like a whole trailer's worth, though.
Yeah. So, but one thing with me, though, is that shopping spree was $11,000. It wasn't all Milwaukee, but majority of it was. But I also bought, I say I'm a bad manager when I had employees, but I don't think I am really. I just think I didn't understand what I was doing. This is a growth for me, Jennifer. I've never admitted that out in public. I've always said I'm just a bad manager. Like, I realized, like, I wasn't a bad manager. I was not understanding of the situation that I put myself in and wanting so much trust and wanting to own everything as Splash, now realizing that other flowers grow in a garden and they work together by pollinating each other.
Mm.
Total
What
hippie
an analogy.
conversation.
You didn't make that up?
Yeah. But it's like, actually, I was meditating and I thought about them like, do you agree with this statement? Are you your worst critic, no matter the hate that
Oh,
you get?
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So this is 2 weeks ago. No, 4 weeks ago. So it was a month ago. So I was ice fishing. I was beating myself up because I felt like, God, Splash, like it was I had a phone call. It was about a $25,000 job to do an exterior contracting, like to paint an exterior in a building with. It was a repeat customer of mine. We've done so much work for them. And like I've never said this publicly, so I'll feel comfortable sharing. It's like I still get phone calls about painting. And I told this customer, like, hey, I'm done painting. And they're like, Splash, like, come on. Like, people don't call me by my name, they call me Splash. Like at my business, that's why I introduce myself. And he's like, dude, he's like, I have 2 buildings. I have this one, I have 2 in St. George, I need one in Nevada. It's like, I was counting on you to do
Wow.
this. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And he knows my numbers because like when I work with companies, I have set like, hey, how many square feet is it? This is what it is. So and that's just really good business. So like to say I'm a bad at business, that's really bad thing for me to say. So it was almost about 6 figures of all the jobs that he had. But this particular one that needed done in a week was 25,000 plus. I could have had it done in 3 weeks by myself. I'm like, hey, John, I appreciate it, but I'm done painting. Like I'm done. I'm retired. I'm doing social media. I get off the phone, I'm ice fishing, and I'm beating myself up, and I'm like, why do you feel this way about yourself as a business owner? And I realized that I wasn't bad at being a business owner, that I didn't understand growth within my own business that I made. Like I didn't need to own I didn't need to be the person that picked up the paint. I didn't need to be the person that did the bids. I didn't need to be the person that wrote the paychecks, that got the job site set up. So my mind, weirdly enough, went to a garden. I was like, well, when you have a garden, flowers grow off each other. The bees pollinate, they move back and forth. So that's where that long story short,
Oh,
like that's
very
where that
nice.
came from.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, you were really successful. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going deep with you, but like it's this growth, and I'm always seeking to be a better version of myself than what I was.
As we should all strive for that.
We should, and it's a good feeling to say this publicly. So thank you for letting me say that. Like, but
I'm honored.
it's this mindset of like you can do anything.
Yeah.
And when you go from making the money I was making as a painter to social media, it is a huge change. And you said something that I said, hey, keep this in your mind. I want to get back to that. If you're a content creator or you want to get into content creation, what you just said is like, and I felt like you were saying, hey, I actually know a company that reached out to me. I can't work with them, but you can. That is so important to do. One, you can build good friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it's okay to say no because you don't know who you just don't want to work with the company. You may not like their values. I mean, I can't tell you, it's been hundreds of content creators or people like you that have told me, no, Splash, I'm not coming on your podcast. I don't know. I don't take it bad. And they're like, I just don't agree with you. I've had
Wow.
people say that to me, and I'm
I've
like,
never turned anybody down that wanted to talk to me.
because I think that like your perspective and the things that you've gone through in life as the content creator, you view it differently. The people that have said me no, I still follow them. We still bullshit in comments with each other. But I realize when the people say no to me, I don't take it personally because I understand that, oh God, I'm gonna sound so hippie here. They're not woke enough to understand that collaboration in a community is way better than competition.
Mm.
And I mean this with the complete, utter humility. Do not try to compete with me. I will win. I will. I have that Kobe Bryant
You
mentality.
have to. You
I
have
have that
to
mentality.
survive.
If you challenge me, I'm gonna be on the basketball court 4 times a day
Yeah.
practicing. You're gonna be twice. I
Yeah.
may be 43. I will always beat you. Like I've presented TV opportunities to HGTV, Netflix. I still throw stuff out to them because I'm a very competitive person. And I think in our space of being contractors, like I love Ty Pennington. I think what he did building the community, like of being
He's a
contractors.
pioneer, really, if you think about it.
He is. Someone called me that in my heyday of like, oh, you're the Ty Penny, you just look cute and you're just trying to. Yeah, I said, that's awesome, dude. Fucking thank you.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a great compliment. And so when we're in this space as content creators, we need to collaborate with each other. It's like in my business, like as a painter, I don't do epoxy floors. I know how to do them. I'll be just as good as you, but it's not what I focus on. So I actually have 3 companies here in Utah that I'd say, hey, I got this job, just take it. I don't even take pieces of it. Now, probably some business owners like, that's really bad of you, Splash. I don't care about that energy. I don't.
I'm
I
happy to help others
yeah.
if I can. So this company that approached me has a really nice. But I told him, you need to work with a carpet installer. I said, I can do a video to hand to you that you can put on your channel. I said, but then I have to think of, okay, now I got to go on Facebook and ask my friends if they have carpet. Like I'm not doing that project currently in my house. So
Yeah.
that presents problems. But I did refer him to a couple people that I thought would be good.
I love that about you.
I'm happy to help out. And I've done that with a lot of companies because I can't work with everybody. I don't want to make myself. There are times that I'm like, man, I hope I'm not making myself look too spammy. But I turn down way more than I take.
But
Really.
do you feel that you've built good friendships from saying, hey, I'm going to recommend this person?
Yes.
Yeah.
That I actually said you're a very kind person. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what I would hope to portray.
It's nice because again, like in the tool world, like that creator, that tool, they may have another tool down the market that you don't know about yet that fits your niche.
Right.
And they're going to remember like, hey, we did want to work with this person. We still do want to work with this person. So let's reach back out to her. And I would praise that too. Like continue that. If you're listening to this podcast, God, we've went 2 hours. That's awesome.
It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't.
I have so much to say. Like, I feel like this could easily be like a 5-hour podcast.
Oh, we can. I think, Jennifer, it's like, I love everything tools. And I know that's like a cliche thing to say. I don't have enough energy to touch every tool. I mean, I get lost. There's this company called Shop Fu, I think. And then is it White Castle or White Cap? White Cap.
White Cap.
White Cap. And I was looking at, I had another guest on the show. They mentioned that they're going to be sold in White Cap. And I'm like, who the fuck's White Cap? So they tells me, and so I go down the rabbit hole. I'm like, oh shit. Most people, the typical consumer, and I'm going to put every contractor in this space, they don't know how many tools. We'll just talk about DeWalt. That's your brand. How many tools DeWalt has? There's thousands more. Like when you see, I don't know if you ever got your catalog, excuse me, but do you ever see tools from DeWalt and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea this was out here.
Actually.
What is it?
This is my very old catalog.
Okay.
Which, by the way, and I never talked about this, when I got that catalog, I'm like, why aren't there women in it? So I went ahead, I put pictures, like, because I very much believe in dream boards and like writing goals down and because I've done it and it's happened.
So I have some right there.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I have a dream board right over here.
Yep.
But I'm like, well, you know what? There needs to be a woman in it. So I put a picture of myself. And then one day I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm dreaming big enough. I want to be the first woman on the cover. So anyway, but yeah, there are things I opened this and I'm like, well, I didn't know. Or I'll see like maybe someone did a video and I'm like, well, I didn't know they came out with that. Why don't I have that? Or just, like just different accessories that are in here that I didn't know.
Yeah.
all the time.
I'm an accessory person. I love all the one of my favorite companies right now is Wera.
Yeah,
They make some
they're a good company.
awesome products.
Yeah.
And like I think that like they're changing the line. That's another company that I would love. Where if you're listening, I'd love to work with you. I know it's funny. I just said that. You would be shocked how many you probably wouldn't be. How many people get in my DMs like, why do you shout out companies like they're going to work with you? I'm like, all it
Because
takes is them to know that I'm interested. That's it.
yes.
The
And that's
worst
thing for
thing.
content creators. Sometimes I have a lot of people reach out to me, but there are companies like when it was painting and I was doing cinder block. You know what it biatch it is to paint cinder block, and I was trying to do it with a roller, and so I reached out to a company, and they were like, "Yeah, we'd love to work with you." Like sometimes you have to be the one to take the first step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it
And something you were
was it Tritech?
No, Wagner.
Wagner. Okay. How do you like their product?
I like it.
I've never used a Wagner before.
Yeah, I really like it.
So that is one thing about brand loyalty. I am loyal to Graco. I always will be. I honestly can say I know that we're about making money, but there's not a dollar. I right now in this minute of 2023, there's not a dollar amount like Trico or Titan would throw at me that I could say I'm going to because
See, and that's how I feel when you asked me about being a Miss, Milwaukee or a Miss what. Like I almost feel like I'd rather just quit what I was doing altogether.
it's an
Like
identity. It's an identity.
It is. It's an identity. It's my story and everything, all the twists and turns and and it's like I just look at the obstacles as well. That's just going to make my story that much more interesting.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to hear about Rocky going in and punching out Apollo Creed like in the first
Yeah.
blow. They want to hear about what he overcame and how hard he fought to get there. And so I kind of feel like that's why I just keep going with the like it's part of my why I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
how am I I just would feel like I couldn't look myself in the mirror.
From a non-DeWalt person, I know that Graco works with DeWalt, and I know that I love the battery system. Like it's a great system in that one. I have burnt out a few DeWalts myself, but I'm also I I'm the chaotic person on a job site. Like I know that. I remember I bought my first work truck for my father-in-law. Now my father-in-law is very old school. He's a miner. But his truck was like almost like it was brand new. Within 3 months, the truck didn't look brand new. And he came on a job site one day when I was getting off of work because I was actually working at a bar in Winnemucca, Nevada. That's where we lived at the time. And I I was on a roof, had some scaffolding that I had up there, and was throwing my board, my rails and my ladder. I had like an A-frame ladder, like 3 of them up on there with me, off into the bed of the truck. And he was sitting in the parking lot watching me. He's like, that is not how you treat a work truck. And so from that day forward, I've had to like let him and my wife know, like, listen, if it's a work truck, it's going to get beat up. I'm going to cut the seats. There's going to be paint. There's going to be grease. But I'm like that. I also know a lot of contractors like, no, this is my baby. It's like a pavement princess. Like this doesn't get dirty, but like it's that different mindset of tools. So like, I love the collaboration with Graco and DeWalt. I think it's great. I think I think it's called FlexVolt. If I'm wrong, correct me, but it's a really good battery system.
FlexVolt and there's Power Stack. Is that what you're thinking of?
No, yeah, but the FlexVolt is what's with the Graco.
Could be. Yeah.
It should. I don't think it's the Power Stack, but I think it's. I'm 100% sure
it's probably the FlexVolt. I just wasn't sure which name you were looking for there.
It is the FlexVolt system. But because you are DeWalt, we really haven't talked about DeWalt. Why? I know we know the why behind it, but when you buy new tools, do you get this sensation of pride? Do you get this like excitement of using? Because I'm not brand loyal when it comes to tools. I have Milwaukee, I have Ryobi, I have one DeWalt drill, Makita. I have different lines. If there was one thing I buy more of, it is Milwaukee because I have 30 batteries.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're in that platform.
When you're looking at it, like when you buy DeWalt products, what is that for you? What is that in the sense of being Miss DeWalt? Like when I do see DeWalt, I think of you. Like, let's not be real. Like that is, you are that person on social media, you know. Um, when I hear, I think it's Jack of all trades, he's Milwaukee,
Mhm.
you know. That I think it's a husband and wife couple, you know. Then there's, the tool pros. They're kind of all over, which I love.
Yeah.
I like the all overness because especially with those two, they give real 100% authentic reviews.
Yeah. Also my
And
friends.
yeah,
Love those guys.
and I would tell people, like, if you're in our space, I think one of the hardest things for us as trades people that are in the content creation space, we never want to shit on a product, but there's been many products we've used that were like, this is not. So from your perspective of dealing with that, how have you worked through that with companies or with a tool like itself? Do you tell the company, like, how honest are, I know you're honest, but like, how's that conversation look when you get a tool that you're like,
Yeah, I've
no, I'm
had
not
some, and
doing
I'm like,
this?
I'm really sorry, and I can tell you offline. But there have been companies that I've either said, I'm sorry, this is like a direct competitor, and I really only try to show DeWalt. But there have been a couple products I received that they were not easy for me to use.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I am not risking my reputation, because then when people don't like them and they have trouble too, they're going to get mad at me. So I've had to tell people, and it's been very, very few and far between.
Hmm.
But I have had some that I did not think that the product was easy to use and or valuable. That I'm like, there are other methods that are easier than what your thing is trying to do. I've just had to tell them. And for the
Yeah.
most part, they've been pretty good about it. They're like, we realize that not every product is going to be a home run for every person.
Hmm. It's fun. I want to throw a fishing line out to DeWalt for you. Um, we'll have them listen. We'll send it to someone. Would you? I know you've done trade shows, right?
I have been invited um, to there was one, but I not with DeWalt though.
But
I
you've done.
was
I know I've seen you. I have not met you, but I know you have done some trade
I
shows.
have gone to, like, there was one event put on by DeWalt with Scott Electric
Hmm.
that is, they supply obviously electrical gear, but they have a couple different locations that are sort of by me, and they had a DeWalt tent and a big event for the public, and I've been invited to two of those, and then I went with DeWalt Mobile to a trade show, the Ace Hardware show. But
Oh,
I've
okay.
not actually been invited by DeWalt. Oh, and I went to a Fastenal event too.
I heard
But,
I've never been to Fastenal. I heard
oh
they're
my
really fun
gosh,
events.
that was awesome. That was in Nashville, and I actually got invited. I was working with DeWalt socks
Oh, okay.
at the time, so I've been invited, kind of, through other means.
Would you consider if DeWalt reached out to you and said, "Hey, we're going to the nat," like I think they were at the National Hardware Show. Would you go out and be a true an authentic spokesperson for them
Absolutely,
in
I
there?
would love
Like,
that, and we actually at one point talked about that.
oh, let's get DeWalt. Listen, you got to start. You Gone are the days where you're paying a celebrity. Like, I'm going to speak very clearly now. So if you don't like pirate talk, fast forward like 2 minutes. Fucking stop thinking you need to pay all the celebrities. That's not what sells products anymore. It's the true organicness we talked about earlier, like seeing someone use the tool, seeing it in their hand, knowing that when they're drilling, like I will see there's an iron worker I follow. I know the smell of weld. When I see this person weld, I'm just amazed by what she does. I'm like, wow, but I can smell it. I'm not a welder, you know. There's a there's a painter that does oh, isn't it? I know who he is. He was on my podcast years ago. Like, I kind of think of his social media handle, but he sprays cabinets. Really quiet guy. I love him to death. But when he sprays cabinets, I miss it so much. Like, and I just get this energy.
Yeah.
And like to DeWalt and Flex, to all these other companies that we've mentioned, like people on social media connect that deep now.
Yeah.
It's the meta world.
It's like a family. It's like you're buying and I don't think that's what
they're missing it. Would you
Corporate
feel it's
doesn't
safe to
realize
say
it's like a statement about who you are,
Mhm.
almost. I went to just as a I just attended. There's a huge place in Ohio. It's called Hartville Hardware, and every
Okay.
year they have this gigantic tool sale. And so I went to it and I shot video. And then there's a friend who was working for Micro Jig, and I've talked to him. And within being, as I'm filming in that DeWalt space, 2 different followers. One was from Cleveland, which is an hour away, and one is sort of local, but recognized me and came up to me, and they assumed I was there working with the reps, which I knew some of them too.
Yeah.
Because I've been here so long. So it's like, why aren't you paying me? I don't necessarily want to be up on stage because I have horrible stage fright, but I'm very comfortable being just one-on-one, talking to a group of people on that level, just being there to chit chat. Yeah. I'm good with that.
I feel that the corporate part of these tool companies is still very old school.
Oh my God, they're playing from a playbook from like 1980s.
Yeah.
They're still like they're like, do not deviate, do not deviate. And it pains me because we could do so much good if we had the backing. I don't have the support that I need. It's like they have to help me to help them.
And it's not as the content creator. It's not about getting the free products.
No.
Okay, let's get that out. Like, yes, I'm going to say for both of us together, we're going to say, yeah, send me the product. I'll do the work. This is my cost to do the work. If that cost doesn't work, we'll figure out the number, because we've done it for so long that we can break it down and say, okay, hey, this is going to take me 6 hours. This is my time. This is what I'm going to do, and I think that like I'm a huge football nerd. You aren't making the playoffs playing from that book anymore. And the only reason, and I know that in the boardroom they're like, well, wait, we're still getting sales. Well, no shit, because people still need to buy tools. I know a few guys that use Heart that absolutely love their product. I've used Heart; it's a great product. But again, I have a little bit of a sour taste. Like, you don't think painters need it? I don't think that person works for them anymore. And the only reason I say that is I had done a video, had their product in it, and then this like 8 months later, Hart reached out and says, "Hey, can we reuse that?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." Like, cool. But it's this. There's so I feel that maybe we've hurt ourselves a little bit as content creators because we weren't getting paid for things that was promoting these tools, so they get to utilize it.
Yeah.
And if we weren't doing it, Johnny and Sally in North Dakota and California would be doing it anyways. So it's that teeter-totter, like we didn't hurt ourselves, but maybe we did. And
Those
that's why
days though, and I think the tide has turned on that. I think it's just automatic. I think it's just expected now.
Yeah.
But we should be compensated for our time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know it'll change, and maybe you and I together, and when we host some roundtables, I think that like I invite these companies. You wouldn't be shocked. I've invited every company to come on the Blue Collar Chat podcast. We'll name like the big names, the DeWalt, Graco, Little Giant Ladders, Milwaukee, Ryobi. They've all said no. Graco was and I can speak for them knowing, like, I understand why they're a little bit different. It's a complete niche of products that they have, but they do shows after shows after shows after shows. They do a lot with the ambassadorship program that they have, and it's great. So, I feel confident at some point they'll come on. But when these companies tell me no, I just kind of scratch my head like, I'm not doing it to get anything from you. just come and talk about a product.
Yeah.
So the example was, again, I feel like beating a dead horse with Flex. Like when Flex announced that they were having basically their pack out system come out, they switched over. It's a Lowe's product. I actually don't know who owns. I don't know who, like, Black and Decker they own the DeWalt, correct?
Stanley Black and Decker.
Yeah, Stanley Black and Decker. So we know that product line. I don't know what I thought for a minute that Flex was Metabo, but I'm not sure who that is. I don't know who their parent company is.
It's not TTI?
No,
No?
no. TTI is Ryobi, Rigid, Hart, and Milwaukee.
I thought Ryobi was Emerson.
No, Ryobi is
Somebody's
TTI.
Emerson. Okay. I get them confused.
Craftsman could be Emerson, but it could
No,
be
Craftsman, Stanley Black and Decker.
Oh, is the same?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know that. But when I reached out to them, I was like, "Hey, come talk about your new product."
Why don't they have people that do podcasts?
I don't know.
Why aren't there people in the public?
It's marketing.
It just pains me, and I hear a lot of, like, why aren't you on TikTok? Our customer isn't there. And it's like, yes, they are. You're not there. It's just so frustrating to me. Like, I keep hearing, that's not where our customer is, or that isn't our customer. And it's like, oh, I feel like that's the dead horse.
Yeah, it is. And when I approach them, like, I'll be, to any company that's listening to me, my general approach is like, hey, I like your product. It looks great. I'd love to work with you. I can send you over my sheet of what my cost is, and I do have that. Like, gone are the days of me saying I'm going to do it for free.
Yeah, I really try. Like, initially I ask for it, unless somebody like the spray painter, like I reached out to them, and it was actually, they sent me they sent me a lot of value, and they did. And I'm like, you know what? I'm the one that wanted the product because I didn't want to go out and pay for it. Yeah. But you know what? That's one of my best performing YouTube videos. So I have to look at it that way. Like, I'm making money from that. But very rarely, I tell people up front, I'm valuable. I have to be paid for my time.
Time is money in this industry, in the world. But to inviting them on the podcast, I said, hey, you got a new product out. You're going to compete with Milwaukee. I use Milwaukee. Let me demo some out for you. Come on the podcast and talk about it. We can talk about the true contractor experience. And that's the approach. I'm like, well, what does that mean? The true contractor said, I am as blue collar as you can get. I will take your tool. I actually did a video with Milwaukee, Makita, and Hart where I threw the drill. Just threw it.
Like in the air? Like
in the air. Like on concrete. No, on concrete. Oh. I'm that guy. I said I'm chaotic, Jennifer. Like, I am the chaos on the job site. Okay. But I know this. Knowing is half the battle. Like, I know. But one of them broke. The only one that I've not posted this video, one of them broke because it was so old, which I said earlier, what company I've owned for years. So that was a go. The other ones stood time. And I sent it to one of the companies, like, oh, please don't post that. And I'm like, why? We just don't think, like, people should be throwing our drills. I'm like, you don't think that a painter, a framer on a roof just doesn't hit their belt clip or hit their spider? We'll give a shout out to Spider Tool Company. Like, it doesn't click. It doesn't fucking fall and go into the concrete or dirt or whatever and break. Like, guys, you need that true contractor experience because it's going to help companies. Like, my whole post yesterday about, like, what company do you buy brand for? I can say for me, I buy it off the platform. I'm buying a product because, one, what do you offer in that platform? Mm-hmm. No, I think I read somewhere a few months ago that DeWalt has more tools than anybody for their battery system. Like, from A to Z, they actually have more tools that can battery powered. I know that Milwaukee has made that claim too, but I'm not sure. I can't say, but the article was saying that, like, DeWalt has like 100 plus more than their nearest competitor, which wouldn't
Okay, so
surprise me.
more than okay, because I'm like, I know it's over 300, but I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, but they have so many different products now, you know, and I just I find it interesting the way that these companies are approaching, you know, these people. And I guess the moral of part of our conversation we had is like, stop looking at the people that have those biggest things. Reach out to contractors and ask them, you know, like Graco, they're like, hey, have you had anyone ask me that? Have you had anyone ask about this? Because like with Graco, I work behind the scenes with them on some projects and saying, hey, this really works. This didn't work on this. Like, what did I
Mhm.
do wrong? And again, that's where my loyalty will always be with Graco because they trusted me. And I knew I could trust them to say, hey, this is not how, like, dude, that video wasn't wrong. You're supposed to do it this way. You
Yeah.
know, have someone from the corporation call me. Like, I have a very good business relationship with them. Like, hey, this is what this is. You know, now that I'm not retired, it's probably a little bit of a different, you know, relationship, which is fine. But at the end of the day, that was a great business model. And
Mhm.
other companies need to say, okay, so for you, DeWalt, you're pushing their product. Why aren't they listening to you and saying, hey, are you getting questions about tools? Has anyone ever asked you? Like, one of the questions I get in the painter world is like, do you know a tool that does this? You just thought of something. I'm pretty sure you thought of a tool that someone's asked you, like, oh, yeah, they do. This is the model number. Like with
Yes.
painting, I know why these companies should be asking you because that lets them know, like, hey, we need to do a video.
Right.
And the other thing that these companies are forgetting is like when Miss DeWalt does a video, you now have a commercial.
Right. I think
So,
that they very closely watch me because I know I've put out content before on how to do
mhm,
something, or people are like, I didn't know that did that. And then, like a week or two later, they do their own version on Instagram. And I'm like, you saw my video, you little stinkers.
fuck you guys. I'll say it for you, Jennifer. I will. Oh my God. Oh man.
And I'm like, why don't you just hire me then?
Someone did that to me years before TikTok was around. Like musically wasn't even a thing. A company did
Wow.
that to me. Remember, like, I can swing a hammer better than you.
Yeah.
The video, I think it's down. I think I took it off, but I let it sit for 6 months. I think it was my first million view video I did.
Wow.
I said, so you guys saw my video that I did this about this. The company went and did a video trying to outdo me. Let me show you that I know their product better than them. Like that is again, I'm competitive. I like that.
I am too.
And
I didn't realize how competitive I am, but I
yeah,
like this is resonating with me. I am too.
the CEO called me and was like, hey, why you? I said, again, this is before we didn't know. I didn't know what the influencer was. That word wasn't really even around.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, you could have asked me for it and maybe sent me the free tool. I said that I'm not being a dick. I said, again, like it was such this new, I didn't know. We didn't know. You know, that's why I said, like, I made myself where I am today. You've made yourself Miss DeWalt. You went into the shop. You had the experience of knowing that these were your husband's tools. You
Mhm.
saw his name everywhere. You felt his presence and energy. You went to flagpoles and said, I need to create. And anyone that's gone through a loss of life or a traumatic whatever words you want to insert there that is your own expression of your feelings, you turned it into such a beautiful thing, you know. And I firmly believe, not to, I don't want to be insensitive at all, but like I believe, like, in the spirit of your husband, he's seen this and just
Yeah.
continues to light that light on you, like you're doing it, because we've all had those days where like, I just want to give up. I want
Yeah.
to throw the pin and just be done.
Yeah.
So you know, I love what you're doing, and I hope one day I can have you on as a guest. I know we didn't talk all DeWalt stuff, but like this is what this podcast is for,
Yeah.
is to help grow and understand. And to all the companies that Jennifer and I named, we're not throwing you under the bus. Please understand that. But what I will say is respectfully know that as the contractors who use your products, as the content creators, our inboxes are loaded with questions. And our time is valuable just as your time is. And we're not asking for a piece of the cake. We're saying, hey, let us work with you
Mhm.
because we can help make you be the top product that everybody goes. You know, I was at Lowe's, and we'll wrap it up after this. I was at Lowe's yesterday, and these guys were talking about the new. You said it earlier. What's the new battery? I don't know if it's new, but what's the new battery system from?
Power stack?
Yeah, Power Stack. I want to say they were framers, just based on what their shirt said, something framing Utah. And the guy's like, dude, this is, and like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this when you're at a store or at a trade show. Like, I like to sit back and just watch because I love the excitement, like a little kid. Grown men and women, we love tools. That he got so excited about it. And it was his boss. And his boss is like, bro, grab 2 of them. Get one for you
Wow.
and one for the guys. He's like, so tell me about it. And the guy is like, he said, and I quote, so I saw this TikToker, they were talking about this product, and I looked at it, like, it'd be really great for our business. It'll help us. You'll stop having to buy the cheap ones. And like, I'm like, motherfucker, yes. Like, why can't DeWalt see? Why can't you hear? Because that person's never going to go, and they don't need to. They're never going to go back on social media like, oh my God, I saw Splash or I saw DeWalt Girl talk about, like, you don't get that anymore.
Not 100%.
5 years ago, we did. 5 years
Yeah.
ago, we got that a lot. Like, we just gave away some Stinger. I worked with Stinger paintbrushes. I gave some away on his behalf. And that's what I do now. I give things away on behalf of the companies. Because goddamn shipping is so expensive.
I know.
I spent
like, you ship it to them.
one Christmas for my giveaways, I spent $4,000 on shipping.
Oh, Mike, on shipping?
Mm-hmm. The lady at UPS was like, dude, did you give away? I mean, I had 3 truckloads of tools that I gave away. I was in a good position. Like, the money didn't matter, but just I'm looking at that number, like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but when I heard these guys talk about it, and then kudos to like, I usually would get in people's conversations. I'm trying not to, because I know my confidence comes across as being ego, like that I'm egotistical.
It has yet to me. I don't know.
But well, because I'm trying to change. Like 3 years ago, I would have been like, oh my God, that thing's so fucking cool. Like, would have inserted myself. But now I'm taking the approach of like, I want to watch this. It was so beautiful to see because I love the tool conversation. Like, there's a company out there, if you're listening, Tough Built, DM me. Like, I love your products. Like, they're amazing products. But to have a boss, because that's how I was. So I spent that $11,000 on Ryobi on the Milwaukee tools. When I bought that stuff, I think I had 12 or 13 employees at the time. I bought every single one of my employees, whether they had it or not. I bought every one of my employees a Ryobi drill and a sander and a radio.
Wow.
And the drill. It was like buy one, get one free. So it was like, and I also knew, again, I know the TTI manager. I knew the regional manager for Utah. So he gave me a little bit of a break. Like, let's be real. And then I gave my 2 leads Milwaukee drills. I gave them the battery, a Milwaukee drill, and a handheld sander. Because I think it's important to give back. Like, anyone that knows my platform, I may give her. If a company needs help giving products away, I will give it.
Awesome.
I demo the product first. So please know this. I will have to demo your product. If I don't like it or I don't know how it works, I'll conversate with you, like you said earlier, because there's just some things like, I don't get it. What the hell? But when I saw these guys at the DeWalt station, like, to see that employee walk away with something that he saw from an influencer or content creator,
yeah,
it made me feel like I'm fucking doing the right thing. Someone else across the world has seen something I've done a video on. Do you feel that way? Like, have you had people come and be like, hey,
every day.
It's so awesome. Day.
I'll tell you what, one monkey rung, to bring up your sponsor again. His daughter watches me and did a video. I don't remember if it was a duet but I've sent like a card and stickers to her. I know her name. I won't say it
Yeah.
because she's a minor. But yeah, like all the time, every day, from men and women. Like there's a lot of guys that it's kind of almost like a double standard. They feel like the world looks at them and thinks because they're a man that they should be handy.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a lot of messages from guys like that admitting because they feel safe with me.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of people that are in the trades that just like message, but all the time, it's usually the days I feel like giving up where I'll get a comment. Thank you. This helped me. I didn't know how to put that together. Thank you for taking the time to do that video. I was driving myself crazy. Or thank you. My daughter wants to go into that. Or thank you. It's all over the board. It isn't just one. You don't know when you put a video out who it's going to reach.
And that's a testament to you, Jennifer. That's a total testament to you because as we started the episode, like you don't sell yourself on your body image. We all sell ourselves. So just know that I include myself in the same, like you sell yourself in the knowledge that you have on the skill set that you've taught yourself and learned from other people, and you're running with it.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more beautiful is that?
Thank you.
We all want this fame, and in a sense, we don't even know what fame is anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the cruise, that for me was that for me was amazing that you have these people acknowledge you in the world of, sorry, my wife just stopped in to say hi and bring me coffee. But like, you're a female in the trades and you aren't out there, in bikinis with a tool in front of you.
Right.
You're saying, hey, this is me. You're going to like me because of the ability I have to show you how cool this tool is.
I want to be taken seriously. And I think that the minute that you do that and are too showy, that you take away your credibility. And also, well, first of all, the friend that I know that is a DeWalt has a daughter. And I'm like, I owe it to her. She's a real Miss DeWalt. That's her real name. Yeah. Like that keeps me in check because I'm like, I don't want her to go to school and be teased because Miss DeWalt had like a, OnlyFans page or something, or did something that tarnished her. That's her real name in real life. But also there's other young ladies watching, like maybe there's the one girl who's in the welding class or the carpentry class. Like, do I want her to go in and be teased because of, something that possibly I did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look what she did. Is that like you too? Like I have to be a good role model.
What will you tell someone, because I'm going to ask you to tell it, to a new creator, male or female, if someone's getting into this space? Because I think that a lot of people come to social media and then they see what we're doing. What advice would you give them?
To figure out what you're passionate about. Because and what you can do to bring other people value.
Yeah. Would you suggest to try multiple things out? Because I think, do you feel passion is a very unique, for me to say you're passionate about something, there's a period of time in your life that you eat, breathe, and shit what you're doing. Like painting for me, spraying a house. I'm passionate. When I was on the job site, and I've said it before and I'll say it till I die, there was a period of time that I was the best in the world. The best. No one could outspray me. And I'm just so confident in what I learned, the mistakes. I sat back and I'd be like, nope, doesn't look right. And again, critic of our own self. Yeah. So what challenges, if you could, share with, like, again, this is our first conversation. I've watched you from afar. I've more fallen in love with this person that I'm seeing in you. That's like, I'm organic to me. It's extremely rare, Jennifer.
Oh, thanks.
So when I say you sell yourself, like, I don't mean in the sense of like you're selling yourself to DeWalt. I mean, like, you're selling yourself for your community to say, I want to see her every day. I
Mhm.
want to see what she's putting out. You know, with these new influencers and ambassadors are coming up, the 20-year-olds in school, you know, like my kid's 17 and 16 or 15 this year. My boys are. And my daughter, who knows what she's going to do, but it's the first time in my life my boys have been like, why aren't you painting houses? We wanted to come work with you this summer. Everyone's watching you,
Mhm.
you know, so the continued growth, like you said, but like, how have you, I don't know if you can tell anyone this, but like, what trait do you feel that you have, or is a good trait to not throw the tool in and say
Stubbornness.
you're going to give up? What is it?
Stubbornness.
Huh?
Stubborn. I'm
You,
stubborn.
you are.
I'm a stubborn Italian. Yeah, it's the I can't, and the underlying feeling of I cannot give up on my life's dream and my life's purpose. I can't even explain. Like when I went to that contest and was in the room with all of the people at the luncheon, I'm like, I belong. This is my family. Like it was just an all knowing of this is who I belong with. This is who I belong with. This is my life's purpose. I have such a deep desire to tell my story, which is about my husband and overcoming, because I, even if someone doesn't go through the death of a spouse, they know what it's like to have their life ripped out from underneath them
Mm-hmm.
and to have to start over and figure out where you go. And it's just kind of like that is the underlying reason to why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And the DeWalt and all that just makes it more interesting, and like how hard I've tried to get their attention and work with them and change stereotypes and be a first and all of, like, I have my own goals too, but yeah, it's just stubbornness. Like I can't give up. You can't get, what am I going to say at the end of my life? Oh, I should have tried harder. What if I would have gone one more
Yeah.
day, one more week? Like we don't know when that scale's going to tip in our favor. It could be today.
Yeah,
That's exciting to me.
Dual could call you and say, "Hey, we have 5 trade shows. We need you to come out."
Right.
What are your goals for the next year?
Well, I want to
Since
be
you're
the first
talking about
woman
it,
right here. I
that's
want to
one
be
of
the
them.
first woman on their catalog because it's high time that there's a representative and that people could go, oh, yeah, I follow her.
Yeah,
Like, why are you going to put just a random model on here? Pick somebody that the public knows. I would like to, so I really want to up my game with content creation. I'm kind of thinking, but I'm also very busy and I'm a single mom and like I have my whole house to take care of, but I really would like to find either a contracting company or I have a friend who does kitchen installation. And I really would like to find like a part-time job to make, I guess, me have more street cred in the trades, and also to show the tools more and just make my content better and learn things. So I would like to do that. I think that maybe in this coming year, I'll take maybe a part-time job working with the right company where I would be an asset to them and just so I can show different things and learn.
my marketing mind's coming to me right now, so I'll give you a suggestion. Well,
Okay.
DeWalt,
They have to
ready?
have people in Ohio. Okay, go ahead.
Here's what DeWalt needs to do: hire you as their spokesperson, visit job sites, give away tools,
I would love to do that.
show the world that you are powerful, show the world that your words matter and that you're capable of anything. In the flip side, what does DeWalt get back? DeWalt, you get back the ability to have commercials made for new products and even old products. You get the ability to say, "Hey, go follow Miss DeWalt. She will show you." When those one of the best emails I ever got was from Graco when Graco wrote me one time. This was years ago. They wrote me and said, "Hey, thank you for doing that video. You answered a lot of our questions. We're just going to send people to you." Why aren't you guys fucking doing this? Sorry. I just I just want to shake and be like, come on. But
I know.
it's a great goal. And the traveling thing is fun. The experiences, that's part of like one of the things we've talked just me that I when I was talking to a network company, it's like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. I think I lost them at Lamborghini. because Lamborghini had their new Urus come out. I was like, hey, this could be the car we travel around and do, like, really, a Lamborghini? I'm like, okay, make it a Tundra. I don't care. Like a Toyota Tacoma.
Right. We can negotiate.
There is nothing. Listen, I have been told no. Every no I hear just means there's another yes.
Yeah.
And I know that you can do it. We've been 2 hours and 40 minutes. I fucking love this episode. I just feel like I want to help you reach your goals. You have a platform. You have that. DeWalt, let's change some stereotypes. Be the leader. Because if you aren't, another company's going to, and they'll build a bigger brand of paradise. You know, and this is coming from no hard feelings. I'm not a DeWalt person. I'm just not. I, for whatever my own reasons are, you know, I grew up with Makita. Makita's a great company. I have no brand loyalty to any company because I have most of them. The only drill I don't have is a Craftsman, a Bosch, and Rigid and Flex. Those are the only ones I don't have. All the other ones, I have something of somewhere, everywhere, even Pittsburgh from, what store is that? Harbor Freight, you know? But back to you, like the DeWalt thing is like, they could have all these commercials done. You get to travel and meet new job sites. That gives you the opportunity to learn. You have street cred, Jennifer. You have street cred.
Thanks.
But but isn't that funny though that you feel that way?
Yeah, because I'm not actively, like, my son packed up and went this morning. He works for a construction company.
Okay.
I'm not doing that every day. So I feel like a lot of my critics point to that. But it's funny, the last podcast I was on, I said that I wanted to go to, it's funny that you said that, because I said I'd like to just show up at a job site. Mm-hmm. When I was working with DeWalt socks, which there's a whole huge story there, that's what I would do. I said, give me socks. I'll show up at a job site where I see they're using DeWalt products, and I'll give them the socks. And then I'll ask them if I can take some pictures, and then I'll post them. But why? Like, I'd love to do that. Like, it's just a surprise. Hey, let me buy the whole crew lunch. We'll give them some t-shirts, maybe leave some tools.
That's a whole nother podcast. That could be the DeWalt podcast. Give you like a truck to travel in.
I know. Did you watch my story on YouTube?
No. I'm honestly not a YouTube person.
I'll have to send it to you, because at the end, like, I bought, if you look at, and I feel bad because my son has that car now and it has a Miss DeWalt license plate. But, you know, I'm a big, and he's like, Mom, can we change I don't like people. He doesn't want anyone asking questions. So he's a little embarrassed of me, except when it benefits him. And then he likes to tell people who I am. But
such a double-edged sword. My kids are the same way.
I know, but like, your parents are always cringy. So anyway, I bought a license plate that says Miss DeWalt, or Ms., because you can only have so many characters. But I want to put that. And in my YouTube video telling my story, I say one of my goals is to have a yellow Camaro. And
there you go.
Yeah. So that license plate is for that car that I don't own yet. But yeah,
Camaro's going out. They're stopping them. They have 1,000 that they're going to make custom. What? Yeah.
What?
They're going to stop manufacturing the Camaro.
Oh my God.
Or they already have. Yeah.
I was reading this. My stomach. I have not heard that yet.
Yeah, I'm a car nerd. Chargers and Camaros, they're stopping in the next few years.
Oh my God.
Like the Charger, they have 1,000 that they're releasing, their last 1,000. There's like 5 different versions, maybe 7. You cannot change anything on it. It's their last run.
Wow. That would be the car I would have if I didn't have a Camaro.
The Challenger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you driven one?
I know. They had one at a car dealership and I sat in it. But I didn't actually take it for a drive.
All right. Love you, buddy. Sorry, my kid's leaving.
Aww.
Have a good day at school. No, I think it's awesome. And I think your dream can come true. It's going to come true. You know, I'll do what we can and we'll invite DeWalt. Maybe we'll have you and DeWalt on. Maybe we can get someone from DeWalt on and talk about their products. And I know one day these companies are going to turn. And I'm not saying this, like, I know it seems egotistical from my perspective. Like, this is what you guys need to do as companies. Like, this isn't for me. I already know that me speaking my truth and how I feel and what I see and then what I know. Let's put it this way. I have over 130 plus thousand followers. There's 7 companies, which I will not name any of them because it doesn't matter, that I've done work for. All 7 of these companies combined have over 5 million users because I've helped them build their brand. It's not hard. It just takes changing your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And these bigger companies, I know that the Milwaukees and the DeWalts of the company are like, we are Milwaukee. We are DeWalt. Great. Your marketing has to change with what's
It
out there.
stinks. Their
In
marketing
3 years, it's going to be
stinks.
virtual reality.
Yeah.
You know, I guarantee you by the time I'm 43, by the time I'm 53, so in 10 years, there's going to be VR out there that you can put aroma sense in. So if you're on Mars in your VR, they'll have some weird smell that they think Mars smells like. Or if you're on a job site, you can have that smell of sawdust. You know, like it's gone that way. You need to change because especially this year, a lot of people don't know this. There's a few articles out there about it. That last year and this year for the next 4 years, more old timers, I'll be nice saying that word, are retiring from the trades.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? The
Yeah.
young generation needs to step up.
They're going to have to step up, and they're also going to have to cast a wider net into who they're recruiting to. And why aren't we filling that gap like we did when there's wars with women?
Yeah. And we're showing up and we're not the thing about blue collar men and women, as much as we bitch about what we do, as much as we bitch about how hard our jobs are, some of them bitch about how much they're getting paid. We make the world turn.
Yeah.
And we have that one word that I don't think a lot of other people have is passion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see these companies talk about their online sales and their online this or their white collar job. Not ever do I ever hear them say I'm passionate. Blue collar men and women say they're passionate. Like you're passionate about it. So,
Yeah.
anything new for you in the pipeline this year? You going to any trade shows? You have anything coming up? You still working with DeWalt socks? Where are you at right now?
No, and there's a story there. I'll tell you. It was my very fun. I'll have to be very careful how I say this because I don't want to tarnish the DeWalt name. They were my very first influencing gig, and I ended up bringing them in. That's the power of social media. They thought I was going to bring in these small fish, and I ended up getting a very big like box store interested.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole story there that maybe if my Netflix movie comes out someday, I'll share it there.
You can share it. Don't you love that we have these stories that we like want to share, but we
yeah.
I'm gonna hold off. You gotta pay for that shit.
I can't, but I can say that you absolutely, when you do work with companies, you have to work with people you trust.
Yeah.
And that treat you well in return.
Yeah. Trust is a hard thing. And I would tell anyone, if you're ever going to work with anybody, don't undersell yourself, but don't oversell yourself and not know what you're capable of doing. It's a huge thing I see with contractors that get into the space of, I've done it myself. I'll call myself out. There's been times like I can't deliver on things. Fuck it. I'll just say it. I'll tell the story right now. Stealth mounts. You know who that is?
Stealth mounts?
Stealth mounts.
What is it?
So they make accessories for drills and batteries where you hang them up.
Yeah, stealth mount. Yeah.
Yeah, stealth mount.
So our accents are different. Yeah, they're like my tool wranglers right here. Yep. Yeah. I have them mounted. You can't see probably.
So I met them at the National Hard. Okay.
Good people too, though. Yeah. If I didn't work with my already, I would work with them with me.
So I'll tell the story because I think it's important. We've had a lot of, I like to be transparent in things. So true story about what happened as a content creator. I met Stealth Mount at National Hardware Show a few years ago. They were the UK version of Stealth Mounts. So in the UK, Milwaukee packouts are black, not red. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, hook a brother up. He's like, okay, call me in 2 weeks and I'll get one man out. Okay. So this is like the end of October. Not last year, but the year before that. And they sent me some stuff. The return was, hey, do some videos for us. Nothing was really written in stone, but it was like, do some videos. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. This is fucking easy. I got it, you know? I did 2 videos. Then I got off social media. I had a mental breakdown. Like legit straight shit. I never thought I'd get on social media ever again.
Wow.
What done with the podcast was just going to paint houses and shut up just because mentally broke down. Fast forward to 3 months ago, January, I reached out to them. I said, "Hey, I'm back. I'd like to work with you. I'm sorry if I ruined the relationship." The Instagram person's like, "You did. You absolutely did. You under delivered for us." Not quite that harsh, but basically in a nutshell, that what was said to me. And I wrote him back, said, "Hey, I really am sorry. Like, you're right. I didn't do as many videos as I thought I would. There was nothing written in stone. So get things written down. Be very, very critical. Like, this is why I love who I am, because I'm not afraid to put myself in a position to let you know, like, shit happens."
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, we don't want to work with you, Splash." Okay, cool. So guess who I ran into at National Hardware Show?
Bull Wrangler?
No,
Oh.
Stealth Mount. I
Oh, okay.
ran into Stealth Mount. The Stealth Mount. I said, "Hey," and he's like, "Oh yeah, we know who you are." It wasn't who I was talking to. I said, "Listen, tell your owner or whoever it is, like, I'm sorry. Like, listen, I didn't publicly at that time. I was not publicly telling people what had happened. Not that it matters, and
I
I
think
really
the owner's a
haven't.
pretty cool dude. Like, I think he's a
Well, again, he probably doesn't manage his social media.
yeah, he didn't know probably. And
So,
can I ask, like, what is the value of what they sent to you anyway? Like $50?
well, they sent me one pack out
Oh,
box.
pack out.
They
Okay.
sent me one black pack out box, so $79, and then Ryobi, Milwaukee, and some other company. I don't know. It wasn't DeWalt because I don't have DeWalt. I don't know, but they sent me their stealth mounts to do. So
Okay, so they
we'll
did send pretty
we'll
okay.
say $150. So I
Okay.
did do 2 videos,
Okay.
but I left social media and just left.
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay. So I came back and I reached out to people. This is one situation that sticks out. And when I was I'm not afraid to admit my fault. And I think you need to have that skin, like to say, "Hey, I was wrong." So when I say don't under deliver yourself, but don't over deliver. I don't
Right.
remember the full conversation of what I said to them. I really don't. Because when you go to trade shows, you're talking to everybody. And like I said earlier, like it's like selling yourself like a street person,
Yeah.
whether you're slaying drugs or your own body. Like you're just trying to get a sell, because there's 20 other influencers there that are doing the same thing. I don't do
Yeah.
that anymore, but I understand it. So when I went to the National Harbor Show, I was like, "Hey, I really am sorry." I said, "I don't know who runs your social media. Just please let the owner know," because that's who I did meet, "that I'm sorry. Like, I'd love to work for you guys. I'd love to work with you together. I don't need product. I'd love for you to come on the podcast and talk about it." Still haven't heard from them. But I want to share a story about the difference of companies and who's succeeding and who's not. Graco, I did write them and tell them, like, "Hey, I'm MIA for permanently." When I came back, I said, "Hey, I'm back. I'm going to do the podcast." Without me even finishing a sentence, they're like, "What do you need? What do you want
Wow.
us to do for you?" So, to companies and to contractors in the social media world, the moral of that is one, know what you're capable of, and don't over. Like I said, you know what you can deliver, Jennifer, and you know what you can't. I think that's really hard for influencers, especially when they're really getting into this space, because we want. But you understand that now, whether you knew it at the beginning, but now it's like, "Hey, I can't work with you. I don't know how to work with your tool. Great product, but I know Splash, or I know Tool Pros, or I know this, whatever company it is. We can name drop for all day long, but like mention big people, mention small people, because the small people still have to grow because they're going to help you grow. But as the company, mental health is extremely important. And one thing that I'm pushing this year in the trades is like, one, and I'm going to say this without trying to be too emotional, like, you aren't alone.
Mhm.
You are not alone. And you need to understand that there's a culture of us that understand what you've been through, or there's a culture of us that are actually here to help you. My DMs are open. I'll talk to anybody. I'll get on the phone. I don't care what day of year it is. And I guess we'll wrap up the podcast this way because this is usually how I wrap up my podcast. Like, we make the world turn around. And as men and women that are content creators and as blue collar men and women, we're in the world more than anybody. We see more things, we feel more things, we buy more things. What that means is we're in the public eye more. And it's up to us to acknowledge other human beings. You're at the gas station getting gas, you're wearing a DeWalt shirt, point it out. If you have stickers, give little kids stickers. You see another tradesman, say hi. It is very much so right now. We have to be community over competition. And if your mental health isn't right, and I use the term clicking, and a lot of people looked at me weird when I said that, but like sometimes throughout our lives, things just don't click right. And you are the only one that knows that. Your spouse can't tell you, your kids can't tell you, your best friends can tell you. Someone may say, "Hey, are you okay? You seem off." That's your sign to say, "Oh, let me see. Let me check in with myself."
Yeah.
This is a personal story I'm sharing. Like, I know that, but I've seen so many men and women unalive themselves because they don't feel like they have people. And I'm
Hmm.
telling you right now, you do have people. You have us.
Right.
Jen, you
Right
have
there.
us. We're
Right.
here for you. We may not understand, but we'll listen. This
Right.
platform, if you want to come talk about life, I'm here. Like, this is what this is for. Like, Jennifer, sharing your story about your husband. I had heard whispers. I had heard some things and caught some things about it, but like, that's real.
Yeah.
And we're blue collars. Like, I know we have to be like, yeah, I'm rugged and tough and I'm confident. Like, I'll whoop your ass. Like, yeah, I'll whoop your ass. But like, I'm here when you need somebody and you're not alone. And sometimes, bless my wife, but like sometimes spouses and best friends and kids can't help you
Right.
because you didn't know it yourself.
Right.
So acknowledge if things aren't clicking. That's my term I'm using because it like the way I can express, like, I just knew something wasn't right about me
Hmm.
inside, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all that shit. We're here,
Right.
and just reach out. I had a really one of and it'll be the sponsor I pay at the very end of this. Like, Plant Powered Marketing, he's one of my dearest friends, and he said something to me that like changed the way that realized like I wasn't clicking right, and it's okay.
Hmm.
Before I get too teary and emotional, because it's still fresh,
Yeah.
and um to walk away from painting something I'm passionate about and like looking at everything I did in that space, like I fucking did a lot,
Yeah.
from being a kid that grew up in 30 foster homes to this, like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck yeah, like that's cool. But I know I couldn't have done it without having other people around that wanted to see me succeed and those that wanted to see me fail. Thank you, fuckers. You helped out. But there's always a space. You don't live rent free because trust me, every time you bring someone in, you've actually paid rent. Every follower you brought me because you talk shit,
Yep.
TikTok and Instagram pay me now.
Yep.
So thank you.
Exactly.
It's
That's so
such a
great.
mind fuck, Jennifer. I have truly enjoyed this conversation with you. You're always more than welcome, and I want you to come on the round table.
I would love that.
We're going to host a roundtable of spouses in the trades. We're going to host a roundtable of men in the trades, and we're going to host a roundtable of women in the
I
trades.
would love that.
And
Please
it
have
is
me
going
back
to
on.
be unfiltered, 2 to 3 hours
Okay.
of just the shit. And I'm bringing in high followers and I'm bringing in lower followers because I want these stories to be had. I want this to be a really good archive for people. So before we
Awesome.
go to the last sponsor, is there anything else you want to say? Any shout outs, any news?
I just want to thank you for having me on and giving me another chance to tell my story. That's what it's about. And this has been really fun. It didn't feel like that long.
No, I keep looking at the clock and I know I brought up a few times. Just know I'm only bringing it up because I'm concerned about your time.
I'm concerned my battery's going to die.
There
I
you
got a
go.
warning that low battery,
Yeah.
but it's really been a lot of fun and it was great getting to know you.
Yeah, same, Jennifer. Keep it up. And DeWalt, we're going to be in touch.
Yeah.
Trust me. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you are the first person on the catalog and that DeWalt understands
Thank
like
you.
women in the trades are just as powerful, if not more, than some of the men. You
Amen.
see the world differently, and we need to be able to see that
It's time.
different aspect of life. And
It's
it's
time.
long overdue. It
Yep.
is truly long overdue, you know.
Yep.
So thank you so much. And like I said, let's hear from my friend Spencer at Plant Powered Marketing. Until next time, everyone, I am Splash. This is Miss DeWalt. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Attention Tribers! Plant Powered Marketing is your cutting-edge marketing agency specializing in SEO, Google My Business, website development, and many other strategies that get you ranked #1 on Google. We're your go-to marketing agency for businesses who want to see real, tangible results from their online presence. Our team of experts has years of experience in getting businesses to the top of Google and generating leads through effective online marketing campaigns. Remember to let us build your next website. Contact us if you want to outrank the competition. Plant Powered Marketing, 971-570-0511 or plantpoweredmarketing@gmail.com.